21 arrests were made during what it calls enhanced immigration enforcement across metro Atlanta. Similar actions over the last 2 months have led to protests. The FBI says it will continue to provide resources to assist federal partners in the efforts. One handgun was recovered in the latest operation. We're waiting for more information from Homeland Security officials on the ages and backgrounds of those arrested. Jennifer Perry, 95.5 WSB.
Now back to Washington this noon. Trump administration officials testifying before a Senate committee today on global threats against the U.S. after the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic claimed he was included on a group text that discussed plans to strike Yemen.
I think this is one more example of the kind of sloppy, careless, incompetent behavior, particularly towards classified information.
Virginia Democrat Mark Warner asking Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard if she was included in that message group.
Senator, I'll reiterate that there was no classified material that was shared in that
And if there's no classified materials, share. And then if there's no classified materials, then you can't even answer the question whether you won the chat.
Also testifying before the Senate Intelligence Committee are FBI Director Kash Patel and CIA Director John Ratcliffe. The pollen count today extremely high again.
Yeah, I can definitely tell that there's, pollen in the air.
The pollen count is 1,295. Tree pollens are the main culprits: oak, pine, birch, sweet gum, and hackberry. There's also a fire danger warning from the National Weather Service today. Dry conditions, high winds could spark wildfires, so outdoor burning is strongly discouraged. So far this year, Georgia has had more than 1,600 fires. The number of acres burned this year so far, 14,000. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast coming up at 12:05. Beware, there's a possible sinkhole that's opened up on North Avenue in Midtown Atlanta. This is near the Coca-Cola headquarters. It's about 3 feet deep and 2 feet wide. At least one car wrecked after hitting that hole. Atlanta police directing traffic away from the hole. One lane is open in the area, which is close to Lucky Street. We'll check in with the traffic center in just a few moments. Gwinnett County police have arrested a suspect in a 2022 cold case with the help from police in New York. Homicide detectives say that they were contacted by the NYPD after a suspect under investigation there gave them intimate details about a murder case that were not made public. With that information, Gwinnett police were able to arrest and charge 20-year-old Delano Hill in the September 22 stabbing of a man in the front yard of a Swanee home on Ridge Oak Drive. Police had surveillance camera footage of the suspect, but until now, they had made no arrest. Hill is being held in the Gwinnett County Jail this afternoon on charges of aggravated assault, felony murder, and malice murder. Now to Covington. Police searching for 2 teenagers who were allegedly taken from their grandmother's house by a family member who does not have custody. 15-year-old Zaka Anderson and 13-year-old David Rankin were last seen in a burgundy GMC Yukon with Georgia tag 00 Care. They are believed to still be in the metro Atlanta area. The state Senate expected to vote today on final passage of a bill that would ban cell phones in schools statewide. The bill prohibits public schools K through 8 students from accessing personal electronic devices during the school day. That does include cell phones and those Apple Watches as well as tablets. Georgia's 911 system getting a big upgrade after lawmakers send a bill to the governor's desk for him to sign.
Each jurisdiction would have to upgrade their software to what's being called Next Gen 911. In Cobb County, Emergency Communications Director Melissa Alterio says they're almost finished with their transition, and she's excited that the state is moving in this direction.
It's a long time coming.
She says the system will benefit residents and first responders.
The calls will connect to the system faster, so calls will get answered faster.
The state's amended budget includes more than $5 million to help roll out the system. In Cobb County, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
A new addition to the police force in Johns Creek. There's a new K-9 officer now there. Finn is a 2.5-year-old Hungarian pointer from Holland. Finn's specialties are drug detection and tracking. He'll be used there in Johns Creek. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow's down 30 at 42,553. NASDAQ is in positive territory, so is the S&P. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center. He has a look at your roads.
Not a terrible lunch hour ride through downtown Sabrina. A few brake lights, 75, 85, both north and southbound. Trying to get past North Avenue and the Varsity. Now with that sinkhole repair, it is on North Avenue at Lucky Street Tech Parkway area. That's just west of the downtown connector. Like you said, they got multiple lanes blocked in both directions as delays pick up throughout the day. I'd recommend 10th Street, maybe even Joseph E. Boone Boulevard, or Ivan Allen Boulevard as some alternates to avoid that. that. Elsewhere, right lane construction in Canton, 575 southbound Riverstone Parkway exit 20. Also got a left lane of the exit ramp block there. And you got construction in the left lane of the I-20 eastbound collector distributor ramp between 285 and Wesley Chapel in DeKalb. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Right now, your 5-day forecast sponsored by Shoemate, the official plumber of Atlanta Homes.
Sunny skies today, high 76. That's trending about 10 degrees above average for this afternoon. Sunset around 8 o'clock. Temperatures will be in the low 70s at that time. Overnight lows cooling down to the mid 40s for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, sunshine, high 74. Sunny skies on Thursday, morning low 46, afternoon high 75. Partly to mostly cloudy on Friday and Saturday with highs in the upper 70s to low 80s.
Sunshine, 67 degrees. More news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Conversationalists, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across America. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be happy to have you. If you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, you get the live stream, the show notes, so much more. I want it on the record. I want it on the record that I talked about the Atlantic story as it happened. I broke it down, I digested it, and I covered it for you yesterday. But we got to do it all over again because there is some additional information to add, and there's new stuff. I also, housekeeping note, need to tell you, thank you for the prayers. My wife's scans were good. So scans were good. She picks up Max, our new dog, on Thursday morning in South Alabama, and we're on chart to have a good week. Is it just me, or when you have a good week like this, you just think, oh, gosh, the bottom's going to drop out now? I try not to, but that's me. Now, let's talk about this. It's a Rorschach test. You know, you look at the ink blob. How do you see it? How do you look at the signal chat? How do you look at it? How do you process it? It's the worst thing ever. If you're a Democrat, there are 13 dead soldiers in Afghanistan who'd like a word with you if you think it's the worst thing ever. There are people who, right now, even though Donald Trump has confirmed it was a mistake, they're convinced it was either malicious or that it was a deep state plot, that there was something happening. Y'all, I can't even with the conspiratorial people. There is a level of political idolatry in the country where you can look at this and think this is the worst thing ever. My side would never do this. Or you can look at this and say the other side's incompetent. My side plays 7-dimensional or 9-dimensional chess, and you're just too stupid to realize they're genius. There's a level of idolatry in our politics right now where if you're, depending on which side you're on, they're either geniuses or incompetent. In this case, there actually was a level of incompetence by Mike Waltz. What's notable is some of the loudest voices in the room want to off Pete Hegseth. They're grinding their axe against Hegseth. Let's just step back and look holistically at this situation. What actually is Signal? By the way, there are a lot of people who don't seem to understand what Signal is, and so they're offering wild theories that if they knew how the app worked, they wouldn't even offer up these theories. The number of people who think that somehow Jeffrey Goldberg added himself, the editor of The Atlantic, or it had to be malicious, or my favorite was some guy, some general, with West Point divers like, oh, this was clearly a effort to rope Jeffrey Goldberg in so he would relay information via back channel to the Europeans. Donald Trump gets on Twitter when he wants to back channel information. Stop trying to explain it away as if this was some brilliant masterstroke. It was rank incompetence. Donald Trump says it was a mistake. Mike Waltz admits it's a mistake. The others on the group chat say it was a mistake. The White House staff on background say it was a mistake. Can we not take their word for it that this was a mistake? Must we impute maliciousness? What so many people do is they impute maliciousness instead of incompetence. 9 times out of 10, it's incompetence, but we conclude because it's of the parties involved that it must be maliciousness. Never explain away something maliciously when incompetence explains it. But there are people who will go to bed in the United States tonight convinced that adding Jeffrey Goldberg to a group chat on Signal was maliciousness. Because if they thought it was incompetence, they would curl up in the fetal position and cry all night. They will sleep better believing evil is roaming the land than that we are governed by incompetent people. Again, people want to believe that we're governed under West Wing, the TV show, and really it's Veep, the HBO series that we're governed under. So Signal is a secure messaging app, and I got to tell you, if you read the Washington Post today, you would come away dumber trying to understand what Signal is. And in fact, I flagged the reporter. She got mad at me. This is actually what the reporter at the Washington Post wrote. Days after Donald Trump took office, Jonathan Kamens realized he couldn't speak freely in his 2 digital group chats with fellow government employees of the U.S. Digital Service. A friend cautioned that at least one of the group members might rat him out for warning the new administration would gut his agency. So Kamens started inviting colleagues one by one to join him in a group chat on Signal, a messaging app known for its security and privacy. Weeks later, and after being fired from his cybersecurity post, he is in 8 private Signal groups. 2 months into the Trump administration, there's a sweeping shift underway in Washington as federal workers and some high-level administration officials migrate their correspondence to Signal in a zeal for secrecy. Until now, Signal was mostly known among Silicon Valley geeks and global dissidents for leaving few digital traces. It was lightly used among federal bureaucrats until they embraced it after Trump's return to office as a tactic to shield communications. Y'all, that's a lie. I don't mean to call out a reporter for a lie, but I haven't been able to have a conversation with a partisan in Washington, Democrat or Republican, since the Obama era without using Signal. I hate using Signal. Signal is just one more thing. You know how many messages I get on a daily basis? Emails I get, direct messages on Twitter and Instagram, the text messages I get on my phone, the Signal messages I get. It's just one more thing, plus WhatsApp as well. So Signal is called an end-to-end encrypted messaging app. That means if you send something through Signal, only your phone and the person you intend to get the message can see it. So if the Russians and Chinese have compromised your phones, they may be able to see your Signal group chat, but they can't break into Signal and steal the inline communication as it's going through and see your group chat. It's very secure. In fact, the FBI, because the Chinese have compromised our telecom infrastructure, have been telling government officials to use WhatsApp, Signal, or iMessage in order to communicate. Now, iMessage is Apple's message. If it's iPhone to iPhone, you get the blue chat bubble. That blue chat bubble means you're end-to-end encrypted. That means Apple can't read your messages, and no government on earth can either. It's why the UK now, all your text messages are green chat bubbles, because the UK has forced Apple to compromise its encryption service. So Apple won't send encrypted messages in the UK right now. Otherwise, you get the blue encryption bubble. So for all the people saying this was an unsecure channel, it was unsecure because Jeffrey Goldberg got accidentally added, but it wasn't actually insecure. It's actually more secure than a lot of other systems right now because the Chinese have infiltrated our telecom system. And beyond that, remember, during the first administration, multiple times deep state operatives opposed to Donald Trump leaked classified communications to embarrass Donald Trump or to get him impeached. So, of course, there's a natural desire for the Trump administration to want to use something like Signal, just like the bureaucrats in D.C. trying to go around Donald Trump are using Signal. This isn't an excuse. They shouldn't have added Jeffrey Goldberg. And in fact, there are systems in place for government officials to have classified conversations, and they probably should have used those systems. There's not a defense of it. There's no need for you to try to defend it, but there can't be this round condemnation of it because this goes on. Democrats and Republicans alike in D.C., in and out of the administration, have been using Signal for years to have secure chats with each other. What's notable is inside the group chat, the people are exactly the way they are outside the group chat. J.D. Vance's antagonism for the Europeans inside the group chat is exactly like it is in public. Mike Wallace and Pete Hegseth's belief that the U.S. is the only superpower that can do certain things in the world and they need to get done and we should do them, that's reflected. There's certainly going to be an antagonism for J.D. Vance due to his hostility for the Europeans. In fact, the Wall Street Journal editorial page is lighting him on fire. Also, I got to say, all of these people using emojis, little prayer hands, and the strong arm and the American flag stuff, I don't understand why grown men continue to use emojis if they're a 16-year-old girl. No intelligence was compromised. No lives were put at risk. The operation was successful. And for all of you Democrats who are really, really upset about this, you do at least need to recognize the whole reason we're in this situation today is because Joe Biden had ample opportunity to deal with the Houthi, and he refused to deal with the Houthi. In fact, Joe Biden took them off the terror watch list. Joe Biden stripped them of their foreign terrorist designation, and they were able to get more money, and they've been using it to target American ships at sea. So the whole reason that Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance and Mike Wallace and Steve Whitloff and all these other people from the administration are having to have a group chat about what to do with the Houthis is because Joe Biden dropped the ball on doing anything with them. Now, Donald Trump is going to stand by Mike Waltz. He says Waltz is a good man. It's very early in the administration. This is the first oops they've had. And he's going to stand by him. I think that's the right decision. What's very, very notable is in the undercurrent of what happened last night, there's a pro-Hamas, very isolationist wing of people who love Donald Trump. They don't like Israel. They don't like Ukraine, and they are out to get Mike Waltz. They last night made a big deal about clearly Jeffrey Goldberg had to be added maliciously, or clearly Mike Waltz is leaking to Jeffrey Goldberg. That's why he had him. If you saw my phone, this isn't to brag. It's just to make a point, and I promise it's not to brag. I've got the phone numbers and private email addresses of a lot of famous people in my phone. I never contact them. I don't bother them. I don't use them. I just happen to have it. And if you're a reporter in D.C. or you're a congressman in D.C., that's very often the case. Mike Waltz was a prominent member of Congress. Of course, he had Jeffrey Goldberg. And when you launch Signal, it asks you if you want to import from your address book. It copies your address book over. Mike Waltz clearly wanted to add either a Jeffrey or a Goldberg, and when he started putting the name, he saw it, didn't think twice, added it. What's remarkable is that no one else in the group chat looked to see who was in the group. It's not that hard. I'm on a group chat with a bunch of world news opinion editors, and there are probably 25 people in the group chat. And you can click a button, and you can see the names of everybody in there. And if you don't know one, you can ask, who is this person? No one in the group chat thought to do that. This does kind of show there's a cavalier relationship between the media and politicians of both sides, that they freely trade information. Their circles interact so much that no one thought twice about Jeffrey Goldberg being in there. They didn't realize he was in there. He was easily added to the group chat. He was in Mike Waltz's Signal address book already. But also, we had Hillary Clinton's server. We had Joe Biden not dealing with the Houthi. We had the Afghanistan stuff. This isn't to excuse what happened. It is to put it in proper perspective. Keep your proper perspective here. This is not the worst thing ever. If you think this is, as I saw someone yesterday say, the worst foreign policy debacle the U.S. has made in decades, well, there are 13 dead soldiers in Afghanistan whose families would like to have a word with you for proper perspective. This wasn't some multi-dimensional chess genius move. Overnight, there were a bunch of people trying to defend this, that, no, honestly, this had to be done. They had to know it. No, they didn't. I know some of you will sleep well thinking that. There are others who believe it's proof that there was a malicious intent. There had to be maliciousness. No, you're confusing incompetence with maliciousness. It's what we do. It was a mistake. It's amateurish. There are secure means of communication that they should have used, and apparently they did use for major details. I don't necessarily believe that the bulk of the war plans were submitted through Signal. Jeffrey Goldberg, I think, might be puffing up some of this. He's certainly telling the truth about the group chat. The screenshots are confirmed to be true from the Trump administration. They did share key information, and to his credit, as much as I'm not a big fan of Jeffrey Goldberg's, he did not release the names of the CIA agents who were named. He did not release the means and methods of acquiring information that were named. He did not list the battle plans. He didn't do any of that. To his characterization of the war plans, I don't know. But here's the bottom line. This was a screw-up. Donald Trump admits it's a screw-up. He's standing by Mike Waltz. There's no reason to defend it. But also, we've had major screw-ups in prior administrations. And you know what? All of you people on the left who are outraged by this, had you bothered to speak up and hold people accountable for the debacle of withdrawing from Afghanistan, you'd have some credibility right now. But because you squandered your credibility to protect your precious then, you can shut up now.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1221 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory into Buford. Crash 985 northbound. Before you get to Buford Drive, exit 4. It's been in the right lane. At times are holding all lanes. I would recommend Satellite Boulevard or Buford Highway as your alternates there. Elsewhere, 75 northbound, seeing some brake lights between Marietta and Kennesaw from North Marietta Parkway up to Chastain Road. Don't forget sinkhole repair, blocking multiple lanes on North Avenue at Tech Parkway. You can use 10th Street to avoid that as well. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
He's the guy at the desk next to you.
Why do you always go after the game show host of The Price is Right?
He's your co-pilot for the ride home.
Don't tell me how to handle my life.
Eric Von Hessler.
Or anyone else.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful. Home improvement projects can be a stressful guessing game. Trust the Plus. Painting Plus. The highest level of communication. The Plus means siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and of course, painting.
Hi, I'm Charlie, owner of Painting Plus and the Plus family of businesses. We'll make you comfortable and keep you informed with every step of your project.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus. Siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
Hey, Belinda here, and I have Barry Petrie, Director of Virtual Imaging. Barry has a very interesting testimonial to share with our listeners. Barry, tell us your story.
Well, Belinda, exactly a year ago when I took over my role, one of the first things I did was scan. And at the time, I was 54 years old, never had any issues, was in a good shape, worked out every day. And I was shocked to find out that I had a score of over 1,000 in my calcium. So, and most of that 1,000 was concentrated in my LAD, which you know is the Widowmaker.
Not good.
So immediately started working with an interventional cardiologist, started working with a functional medicine specialist to try to correct that. And unfortunately, about 4 months ago, I started having symptoms and rescanned. And at this point, my calcium score had gone from 1,000 to over 1,500, and that LAD score had gone up to over 1,000. So long story short, ended up going to Northside, getting a stent put into my LAD. And now today I feel great. I regained the gear that I didn't know that I had lost. And had I not taken this role as director of virtual imaging a year ago, I probably would have not known this, and I could have been one of those folks that looks perfectly healthy and drops dead.
Absolutely. Folks, that story hits home. What are you waiting for? Go to Virtual Imaging and get a complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse. Call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or visit virtualimagingatl.com. It could save your life.
Critical Link from Southern Link. We're more than a mission-critical LTE network. Together, we're a network of people that has you covered. Public sector grade push-to-talk, LTE voice, mobile data. Critical Link, reliability in action. Call 866-450-LINC for Southern Link products and deals. Or visit Highfly Technologies in Atlanta or NextLink in Duluth. Go to southernlink.com to find a dealer near you.
Hey, Dave Baker here. Let's talk garage doors. Your garage door. Is it too loud or letting air in around the frame? Overhead Door Company of Atlanta will make it all better. In March only, they will perform their full 26-task garage door tune-up for just $79, and just in March. That's just $79 for up to 3 garage doors and openers. You need this done once a year anyway, so why not now and for just $79? Schedule now at overheaddooratlanta.com.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
All the information without the spin. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
Welcome back. It's Erick Erickson here. I want to give you some modern American medical perspective as Bernie Sanders calls for Medicaid for all. He wants universal government-run health care. A video came out. I can't play you the video because of all the profanity in it, but a woman went viral on social media because she needs an MRI. She lives in Canada, and she needs an MRI to see if she might have brain cancer. Her cancer scan is scheduled for 2026 to see if she has a brain tumor. They've scheduled her MRI for 2026 in Canada. My wife's doctor this morning went for her oncology scans. For those of you newly listening, my wife's got a genetic form of lung cancer. It's stage 4, no cure, but they keep the tumor stable with some medicine. She goes every 4 months now, was 3 months, every 4 months now for scans. Doctor's like, we want to do an MRI of your brain. They do one every 5 or so years. It's time. It's no big deal. They scheduled it today, and it got scheduled for day after tomorrow. In fact, my wife had to reschedule it because she's going to be out of town in 2 days. So it's rescheduled for next week. Contrast with this woman under the Canadian healthcare system that the left says is the most wonderful thing ever. She's got a possible brain tumor, and they're going to schedule her MRI for 2026. I bet you, however, I guarantee you, if this woman wanted to get assisted suicide, the Canadians would have an appointment for her tomorrow. That is the sick, sad thing about the embrace of assisted suicide. In so many of these countries, they drag out your health care options to encourage you to commit suicide instead so they don't have to pay for anything. It is a deeply demented practice that is spreading in the West as Christianity fades. It's just sad to see. But yeah, my wife, her MRI got scheduled for 2 days from now. This morning at her doctor's appointment. She had to put it off for another week. This woman, going to be a year. Sad. Perspective matters. Now, let me tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm, because that perspective matters as well. There are a lot of air purifiers out there, but this one you can hold in the palm of your hand. You can plug it up with a USB cord, or you can plug it directly into the wall. It kills 99.9% of bacteria and viruses. It traps dust, pet dander, pollen, and then it wipes out odors. And that's how I use it and how it shines. It wipes out every odor. You got cooking odor in your house, you fried shrimp or did fish in a skillet, it's going to wipe out that odor. You got a wet dog, going to wipe out that odor. Dirty diapers, wipe out that odor. You name the odor, it's going to wipe it out. Smoke odors, pet odors, you name it. You can get 3 of them and save $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERICK3, E-R-I-C-K, the number 3, no space, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com. You'll get 3 Eden Pure Thunderstorms for upstairs, downstairs, your basement, your travel bag, your RV, wherever you need them. You hold it in the palm of your hand. It's that small. It works. EdenPureDeals.com. Discount code is ERICK3.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. Happening right now, Georgia Senator John Ossoff just questioning CIA Director John Ratcliffe about a reporter being added by accident to a group text that discussed plans to strike Houthi targets in Yemen. Take a listen.
Director Ratcliffe, this was a huge mistake, correct?
No.
A national
Hold on.
No, you
Let me
hold
answer.
on. No,
The
Director
answer- the
Ratcliffe,
reason
I
I
asked
say
you a yes
no-
or no question, and now you'll hold on. A national political reporter
You can
was made
characterize it how
privy,
you want.
was made privy
The White
to
House has
sensitive
made
information
clear
about
that there
imminent
was an
military
inadvertent
operations against a
mistake,
foreign terrorist
an inadvertent
organization.
mistake of adding a reporter.
And that wasn't a huge
to a
mistake?
seal.
That wasn't a huge mistake?
Well, I think they characterize
This is
it
an
as a
embarrassment.
mistake.
The White House saying no war plans were discussed and no classified material was sent to the thread. Sunny skies and mild today, highs around 76. Some of the winds gusting up to 30 miles an hour. The pollen count extremely high. A sinkhole opens up on North Avenue in Midtown Atlanta near the Coca-Cola headquarters building. It's about as deep as the shallow end of a swimming pool. David Kimbrough telling Channel 2 Action News he got a flat tire after driving his car over the hole and into it.
It sounded like a big clunk, and then the car started smoking.
And crews are on the scene right now making repairs. Atlanta police directing traffic away from that hole. One lane is open in the area, which is close to Lucky Street. This just in, 5 high-level officials at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are leaving. The departures are announced today at a meeting of agency senior leaders. This means close to a third of the agency's top management is leaving or has left recently. The announcement coming a day after the White House announcing its nomination of Susan Maneres to be CDC director. The Atlanta-based CDC has 24 centers and offices. It's 12:32.
Motorcycle riders like you are a different breed. You don't just ride your bike, you're obsessed. So if someone causes you to lay your bike down, you need a different kind of attorney, one that understands bikers and their rights. Eric Von Hessler here for my friends at Steel Horse Law, the Stein and Karen Law Group, motorcycle injury lawyers who ride. You can trust them on the road and in the courtroom. Steel Horse Law can help you get back on your feet, medical bills paid, and your case resolved. Trust is everything and results matter. Free case evaluation at steelhorselaw.com.
City of Hope, a place where seemingly impossible blood cancers become treatable, curable. With more than 19,000 bone marrow transplants performed, we're the largest and most successful program in the U.S., making major breakthroughs in treating leukemia, lymphoma, and rare blood cancers, personalizing a treatment plan right down to your DNA. Now the experts striving to make the impossible a reality are closer to home. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
Hey folks, it's Eric Erickson here. Well, it's Trump 2.0 now, and things are changing quickly. Every day, changes to taxes, tariffs, foreign policy, moving at a pace we haven't seen in a very long time, definitely not in the last 4 years. What about your retirement plan? Many of you know about the Magnificent Seven stocks like Apple, Amazon, Meta. They've been behind a lot of the market's recent growth. I saw my buddy David Nicholas on Stuart Varney show the other day. David is my wife's and my financial advisor, and he was talking about what he calls the MAGA 7 stocks and sectors he thinks are going to have the most opportunity in this new Trump administration era. Well, you know, David gave my wife and me a complimentary Morningstar analysis. It's $1,000 value, but right now my listeners can get it complimentary. He's going to give you guys what he gave my wife and me. If you've saved $250,000 or more for retirement, call Nicholas Wealth Management. Get this unbelievably valuable analysis for free. David and his team will review it with you, give you some total clarity, and get you ready for your nest egg in this new era. So if you've saved $250,000 or more for retirement, please go to nicholaswealth.com. That's NICHOLAS wealth.com. Or call 678-990-8500. That's 678-990-8500 or nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and particular needs of any person who listens to this show. Eric Erickson is a current client and is paid for this ad.
Quickly, Alex Williams, how are we looking?
Big jam up into Beaufort and Gwinnett County. Crash 985 northbound before Beaufort Drive, exit 4. At times, all lanes are blocked, also causing southbound delays. Use Satellite Boulevard or Beaufort Highway. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Epward. Sunshine today, high 76. Lows tonight in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 74. Thursday, sunny skies, morning low 46. Afternoon, high 75.
Here in Midtown Atlanta, we have sunny skies and 68 degrees. More news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, even when it isn't popular. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here, and the phone number on the show, if you want to call in, 877-973-7425. I want to, because I got a couple of text messages. Jim, Mike, and Bruce, y'all were all not alone. The three of you all were tracking the same way. A lot of people antagonistic toward Jeffrey Goldberg on this group chat. I'm not a Jeffrey Goldberg fan. I have very few positive things to say about the editor of The Atlantic. I think, frankly, he's dragged the magazine into the ground, placating the itchy ears of the left. But if I were a reporter and I were added to a classified group chat by the National Security Advisor to the President of the United States, I would absolutely hang out and observe what's going on. To Jeffrey Goldberg's immense and patriotic credit, he did not reveal means and methods. He did not reveal the names of the CIA agents who were mentioned. He did not do it in advance in a way that could have disrupted the war plan. He waited until the conclusion of the attack on the Houthi, announced he had been added to the group chat and left it, and then published. He did not sabotage an attack. He could have. He did not rush to say, hey, I got this scoop, let me tell you about it, before the attack happened. He could have. You're absolutely right. He could have said, guys, sorry, you added me, I'm gone. He could have done that. And maybe some of you might have. But he's the editor of The Atlantic. He was added to this group chat. He's a reporter. I don't really fault him for hanging out and seeing what was going on, seeing if it was real. And at first he thought he was being pranked. And then it very clearly became real, and he hung out and observed. No, I'm not going to attack the guy. I have criticized him regularly on this program. And I do think it is to his credit. He did not blab. He did not leak. He didn't do anything until after the attack was over, didn't undermine the attack, didn't reveal information he could have. We do now know that we can question whether or not war planning is the accurate characterization. But we do know, and it has now been confirmed by the White House, that there were a couple of active CIA agents who were named in this group chat, and Jeffrey Goldberg has refused to hand over those names to the public. He's protecting people's lives in doing that, and so he does deserve some credit. It's okay to say nice things about people you disagree with or don't like when they do something that is worth crediting. Now, there's something else from this group chat, and it ties into something else I want to talk about. One of the more interesting aspects of the group chat conversation, beyond J.D. Vance's hostility to the Europeans as freeloaders, is he's very concerned about gas prices. I don't know if you've looked lately, but gas prices are down. They've gone up a little bit in the last 24 hours because of concern about the tariffs and Donald Trump's secondary tariffs on people who do business with Venezuela. By the way, full disclosure here, I do not have a problem. I want it on the record. I am an opponent of tariffs. I do not have a problem with Donald Trump punishing countries through a 25% tariff who buy oil from Venezuela. Venezuela is a rogue terrorist state. It needs to be shut down. Donald Trump doing this to shut down Venezuela and build pressure on that regime, I think is perfectly acceptable. There are all sorts of people who are shocked and appalled because they don't like tariffs. Take out Venezuela by any means necessary. Oil prices, however, have gone up a little bit because of it. J.D. Vance, in his concerns in the group chat, were about oil prices. If we start this attack with the Houthi, will it cause oil prices to go up? And there was a real concern. So J.D. Vance seems to be in the direction, and by the way, he's had some public statements about this as well, that he wants to bring down oil prices as best he can, as quickly as he can. And oil companies right now are a little bit perturbed by this because they've gotten used to $80 a barrel for oil. J.D. Vance and Donald Trump would like to see it somewhere in the $50 range. And you know what would happen if oil prices came down? It would actually help the economy. Oil is down. I'm looking right now. It's down to 76 a barrel for West Texas crude. It's down to $72.75 for Brent crude. That's essentially the North Sea oil. So West Texas crude, 68.76. That's actually not bad. It's not bad. And there's this. I want to play you this audio. This is from Harry Inton. He was on CNN earlier today talking about some of the polling that exists out there right now on the state of the world.
I think sometimes it's important to do a little bit of reality check and take a little different spin at the numbers. I'm going to do that right here because all we talk about is how unpopular Donald Trump is. But in reality, he's basically more popular than he was at any point in term number one and more popular than he was when he won election back in November of 2024. What are we talking about? His net favorable rating right now comes in at -4 points. Compare that to where he was when he won in November of 2024 when he was at -7 points, or March of 2017 when he was at -10 points. So when you compare Trump against himself, he's actually closer to the apex than he is to the bottom of the trough. And of course, that's so important because Donald Trump, historically speaking, has had his numbers underestimated. So I think it's very important to compare him to himself to understand he's actually more popular now than he was when he won, or certainly where he was at this point back in his first term. The bottom line is Trump is more towards the ceiling than he is towards the floor.
Now, there's something there. I want to play a little more of this, but to Harry Inton's point, remember, Donald Trump overperforms his polling. So it's as likely that Donald Trump is in actual positive total territory as it is he's -4 right now because Trump overperforms his polling consistently. Even in this last election, Donald Trump overperformed his polling, which suggests that if Donald Trump's at a -4% in the popularity, he's 4 points underwater, he might actually be breaking even or slightly above right now. That's Harry Inton's point.
When you do that, it makes my knees hurt. So when you look at this compared to sort of historically, what does it tell you about the percentage of folks that think the country itself, with him at the helm, is on the right track?
This, I think, is rather important because, again, if the polls have historically underestimated Donald Trump, what is a metric that might get at understanding at how popular he may actually be? So let's take a look at the percentage of the country who say that we're on the right track. It's actually a very high percentage when you compare it to some historical numbers. What are we talking about? According to Marist, 45% say that we're on the right track. That's the second highest that Marist has measured since 2009. How about NBC News? 44%. That's the highest since 2004. Wow. The bottom line is the percentage of Americans who say we're on the right track is through the roof. And if you were to compare it to when presidents have historically been reelected, of course, Trump is not constitutionally eligible to run for re-election, but I think it sort of puts it in perspective. 42% of the country says the country is on the right track when the incumbent party is re-elected. And also keep in mind, back when Kamala Harris lost and the Democrats were turned out of power, only about 27 to 28% of the country said the country is on the right track. The bottom line is right now, a much higher percentage of the country says we're on the right track. And finally, Sarah Seidner, I want to put it all in the congressional generic ballot.
What about Congress?
What about Congress? Because those are the folks who are up in 2026. And take a look here. The Dems versus the Republicans on the generic congressional ballot. Back in November of 2020, when Democrats won, it was +5 Democrats. Tied in November of 2022, +1 in November of 2024 when Republicans maintained control. And then you look at March of 2025. This number looks a lot more like 2022 or 2024 when Republicans won control of Congress. The bottom line is, yes, Donald Trump's approval rating is lower than compared to a lot of his predecessors, but it's higher than compared to himself. A lot of folks say the country's on the right track, and the generic congressional ballot looks a heck of a lot more like when Republicans win than when Democrats win.
There you go. Right there. There's a good sign for Donald Trump and for the GOP. And if they get gas prices down, they fix the economy, it's going to turn things around. But there's a Chinese advantage out there. And this is something that Trump and the Republicans are looking at. You know, we want to deal with Greenland because of the rare earth minerals, not just the strategic advantage, but also the rare earth minerals. Ukraine as well. We want to deal with Ukraine for rare earth minerals. Here's a problem. Do you know where, like the U.S., I didn't realize this until I read this Wall Street Journal story. Do you know we actually have copious rare earth minerals in the United States? You know what the problem is, though? We send those rare earth minerals to China to be processed. So we have lots of rare earth minerals, but we have to send them to China to process. And we want to strike a deal with Ukraine and Greenland and maybe even Russia for more rare earth minerals. And if we get those deals, we have to send those rare earth minerals to China to be processed because we're not capable of processing rare earth minerals in this country anymore because, among other things, environmental regulatory guidelines restrict the development of plants that can process the rare earth minerals. So we've lost American refinery capacity. China is now actually one of the few places on Earth where you can refine rare earth minerals because it's actually a messy job and American environmentalist standards won't allow us to be able to do it at the scale we need to do it. So this is the bleeding irony of our economic situation right now. We want more manufacturing in the United States. J.D. Vance wants lower oil prices, which means we got to have refining capacity in this country to process the oil. They want more rare earth minerals. But if we get rare earth minerals, we don't have anywhere to manufacture and process them, so they have to go to China to get back to us. The United States mines 12% of the world's supply. We're number 2 behind China in that regard. But the U.S. exports about 2/3 of its rare earth minerals to China because China refines 85% of the rare earth minerals. China then turns them back around and exports them back to the United States. Think about that. Think about that for a minute. This blew my mind when I saw this today. We want to do all these things, and then what happens? We take all of the rare earth minerals and we send them to China. China then refines them and sells them back to us. That's just mind-boggling to me that we're in a situation. We have gotten into the situation because of regulations in the United States. There's this new book out by Ezra Klein and Derek Thompson from The Atlantic called Abundance, and it's essentially making the case to Democrats that their regulations, they take such a regulatory approach that they're stifling innovation and abundance in this country. And the bottom line, actually, is that, well, yeah, the regulators make it very impossible for us to thrive in this country. American regulators are becoming like European regulators. They just want to regulate. They don't want to innovate. And the result is we're having to send all of our innovations to China and then buy that stuff back from China. And if China is a military competitor, if not enemy, we got to fix that problem. At least J.D. Vance recognizes that's the problem, and J.D. Vance is calling for solutions to it. Good for him. Now, let me tell you about Hillsdale College. If you go to ericforhillsdale.com today, you can get one of 40 courses from Hillsdale College. You can actually take multiple ones completely free, ericforhillsdale.com. They have classes on, math, chemistry, economics, literature, the English language, philosophy, theology, political science. There's got to be a topic you're interested in. There's got to be a topic. Maybe it's history, Athens and Sparta. Maybe it's the Constitution. Maybe it's Shakespeare or C.S. Lewis. Maybe it is basic economics. There's a class from Hillsdale taught by one of their professors. It's a video lecture series. You do it at your own pace. You get a certificate of completion from Hillsdale when you're done. You do not pay a penny. Surely there's something you're interested in and you want to expand your mind on it. Go to ericforhillsdale.com. It's a great way to build a relationship with Hillsdale College. They've been reaching people where they are since 1833, educating Americans, not indoctrinating, but educating. You can be a part of it at ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. Sign up today. You'll never pay a penny. You'll get a great relationship with Hillsdale College.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear. It's to tell you the truth.
It's the Erick Erickson Show.
1250 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory continues up into Beaufort, Gwinnett County. Crash 985 northbound before Beaufort Drive, exit 4. At times, all lanes are blocked. The delays now spilling back onto 85 northbound, use Satellite Boulevard or Beaufort Highway. Right lane or left lane crash, 285 southbound, the outer loop heading toward the airport just below Cascade Road, exit 7. Slow back to MLK. And checking all possible new trouble, 285 westbound, the outer loop into Cab County at Ashford Dunwoody Road, exit 29. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Stay connected to Atlanta's news, weather, and traffic with the 95.5 WSB app. Listen to Atlanta's morning news. EVH, Eric Erickson, Mark Aram, and Shelley Winter. No matter where you go, 95.5 WSB and the WSB app. Download it today or find us in the iHeart and Odyssey apps.
Hey, it's Scott Slade from my roofer, FGA Roofing, and I'm thrilled to hear the FGA Roofing is Tim Andrews' roofer.
My FGA roofing story is very simple. We needed repairs to our roof. And I said, hey, I'm going to call Scott Slade's roofer. FGA Roofing came out, and within 15 to 20 minutes, they had everything identified that needed to be done, and they came back about a week later and knocked that out very quickly.
Quality work is what you get with FGA Roofing, whether you're going for repairs or if you're ready for your home's exterior for a real upgrade. The architectural shingles, the designer roofs, I mean, these are real envy points with your neighbors. They'll be stopping you on the street going, hey, who did that?
Hey, you know what? After the repair, one of the neighbors down the street, who I never even met before, came up and said, who did that? So when I am in the market for a new roof, I know who I'm going to call. FGA Roofing.
Absolutely. You know, designer roofs, catching your eye, this is where you need to go. Slate, tile, wood shake, and for a limited time, FGA Roofing is offering $1,000 off your final quote if you mention Scott Slade or Tim Andrews.
That's awesome.
Just search FGA Roofing.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into. They think they know what equities they have, they think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, you know, I would liken this to a big pot of soup and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you, because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Get the podcast, live stream, email, and social media links by texting Eric to 33777 now.
Yes, there is an audio issue with our live stream. We are working on it. I don't know. I find it both funny and annoying, the amount of people who email me in the middle of the monologue and say there's something wrong with your live stream. I'm talking right now, as you can tell, therefore I am completely incapable of fixing the problem or letting someone know there's a problem because I'm talk. I love you guys. It cracks me up sometimes. It also gets frustrating when the number of people who text message me while I'm in the middle of a sentence as if there's anything I can do. This hour of the program brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. If you are buying a building, if you are growing a company, if you see opportunities and maybe your present lender doesn't share your vision, reach out to First Liberty. Any one of you nationwide for your business, go to firstlibertyga.com. Firstlibertyga.com. Tell them I sent you and see if they can work with you. Good people, very good people. So before I move on to anything else, I got to wonder, was Elon Musk a little bit bothered by not being part of that group chat? He wasn't there. And I will tell you, one of the alarming parts of this whole story is that, what's his name, Steve Witkoff, who is the guy who's negotiating the Ukraine-Russia deal, he was in Russia, and he was in Signal. And the thing you need to know about Signal is it's on your personal cell phone. You cannot put Signal on a government-issued phone. You can't do it. I have confirmed with members of the Trump administration as well. You cannot put Signal on your government-issued phone. So it's on your personal phone. So these guys are on their personal devices using Signal. Now, Signal is end-to-end encrypted. But if China or Russia had been able to get access through malware or something to these guys' phones, they would have been able to monitor the keystrokes, so they would have known what they were doing. To be in Russia using your personal phone to engage in a group chat about war planning was a boneheaded move. Regardless of Mike Waltz putting Jeffrey Goldberg on this or organizing a Signal group chat to begin with, I mean, it's like, you know what, most CEOs and major corporate people, when they go to China now, they're given a burner phone to use in China because the Chinese will inevitably insert malware onto your phones in China. And when you come back to the country, they'll be monitoring, and they're in our telecom. I mean, this is one of the side stories on this is I think the Trump administration, much like the Biden administration before it, they've completely given up on trying to get the Chinese out of our telecom system. We know that our telecom system is deeply infiltrated by the Chinese. The Biden administration could not figure out how to get them out of it. And I'm beginning to believe the Trump administration has just given up. So they're using Signal instead. But, excuse me, to do it on your personal phone in Russia is not a wise decision at all. The Russians and the Chinese both are desperate to get access to our phones, and just using their cell services can compromise your phone. So, bad move by Witkoff to do this. But again, I think it's really important. However outraged people are, and you should note that the Republicans are way more concerned about this and critical of it in public than the Democrats ever were about the withdrawal from Afghanistan or even Hillary Clinton's email server. But what you should note is that no lives were lost, no planning was compromised, and the attack was successful without being leaked. And it's one of many attacks to come as we try to wipe out the Houthi, which is a good thing. When we come back, there's a wild story about Columbia University and a pro-Palestinian group, and, well, you can judge on coincidences when we come back.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. A sinkhole has opened up on North Avenue in Midtown Atlanta near the Coca-Cola headquarters. It's about 5 feet deep, 2 feet wide. David Kimbrough telling Channel 2 Action News he got a flat tire after driving his car over it.
It sounded like a big clunk, and then the car started smoking.
And crews are on the scene making repairs right now. Atlanta police directing traffic away from the hole. All right, your weather for today. Sunny skies and mild, high around 76, winds gusting up to 30 miles an hour. And the pollen count is also high again today, 1,295. It is mainly tree pollens that might be giving you some problems. Oak, pine, birch, sweet gum, and hackberry today. We'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up in just a matter of minutes. Now to Washington. Lawmakers reacting to news that a reporter was accidentally included on a group message that detailed U.S. plans to strike Houthi rebels in Yemen. House Speaker Mike Johnson.
Look, they've acknowledged that there was an error, and they're correcting it. And I would have asked the same thing of the Biden administration.
Georgia Senator John Ossoff.
This is utterly unprofessional. There's been no apology. There has been no recognition of the gravity of this error. And by the way, we will get the full transcript of this chain.
The White House saying no war plans were discussed and no classified material was sent to the thread. 5 high-level officials at the CDC here in Atlanta are leaving. The departures announced today at a meeting of agency senior leaders. The announcement comes a day after the White House announced its nomination of Susan Menares to become CDC director. This means close to a third of the agency's top management is leaving or has left recently. Georgia Power kicks off a series of public hearings giving the public the opportunity to provide input on future rate increases, infrastructure upgrades, and more.
It's all part of the Georgia Public Service Commission's review of the utility giant's Integrated Resource Plan, which must be updated every 3 years. The public hearings continue daily through Friday, with another round set for the end of May. Customers can submit their comments on the Commission's website. It follows 6 rate hikes since the start of 2023, with the average residential customer now paying about $43 more per month than they were at that time. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Applications are now open on the Fox Theater's website for the Fox Gives All Access Pass program, which helps kids interested in the industry.
The program mentors 90 kids from 3 schools in every aspect of theater operations over the course of an academic year.
We really wanted to be involved in inspiring the generation to look at careers not just on the stage, but off stage.
Lee Burns says one teacher was thrilled with the kids learning from Atlanta dance legend Alvin Ailey.
She said instead of having kids on their phones on the bus home, the kids were actively talking about Ailey. I mean, if that's not success for us, I don't know what is.
One program perk, free tickets to a performance of The Lion King at the Fox. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
It's 102.
Why does it matter that D. Geller & Son is Atlanta's first diamond wholesaler? Because we get first dibs. When diamonds come to Atlanta, they come to D. Geller & Son first. A bunch of diamonds that look the same on paper, but there's about 1 in every 10 that you can see from across the room. So we keep the good one, we pack the rest back up, and they go somewhere else. Usually a big box store that's not quite as picky. That means the same color, same clarity, and same price gets you more brilliance, more sparkle, more bang for your diamond buck at D. Geller & Son. In Atlanta, Kennesaw, and Sandy Springs, online at dgeller.com.
It's essential, complicated, and if it breaks, you could have a disgusting mess. Hi, I'm Shannon, owner of Scorpion Septic, and the experts you hear on the Home Fix-It Show. Slow drains, gurgling sounds, or pooling water and odors in the yard? Don't ignore these symptoms. Call us today.
Take the sting out of septic service with Scorpion Septic, where there is never a pump-out charge with your repair. Call for more information.
ScorpionSepticServices.com. Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
Hey, it's Shelley Winter. With the uncertainty of possible tariffs scheduled for April 2nd, Butler Lexus of South Atlanta has your pre-tariff Lexus right now. Visit before April 2nd for guaranteed pre-tariff pricing. Call 800-NEW-LEXUS.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather brought to you by Nelson Exteriors. Here's Alex Williams.
Travel advisory continues in Gwinnett County. Crash 985 northbound before Beaufort Drive, exit 4. Only a left lane has been open. You can use Satellite Boulevard or Beaufort Highway. Left lane crash 285 southbound, the outer loop, Cascade Road, exit 7, causing delays down toward the airport. And that sinkhole repair continues on North Avenue right around Techwood Parkway. It's causing delays in both directions. You can use 10th Street to avoid that jam. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Epworth. Sunshine today, high 76. Lows tonight in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 74. Thursday, sunny skies, morning low 46, afternoon high 75.
It is sunny and 70 in Douglasville. Lithia Springs has 71 degrees, and it's 71 in College Park. We're going to hit 80 degrees by the weekend, according to WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. We'll have more news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number is 877-973-7425 should you wish to be on the show. My father was concerned I was letting RFK Jr. guest host for me given the quality of the live stream in the last hour. Nope. We had an error. Thank you to the fine engineers at my flagship station, WSB. They were able to get that sorted out for those of you on the live stream. Again, the phone number 877-973-7425. If you text the word data, D-A-T-A, to 33777, you can get the show notes. Every day when the show starts, we send you out all the list of things I'm going to be talking about, including this story, and it's one of those that you almost do need to see it for yourself to believe it. This is wild. Now, you should know, I'm willing to believe in coincidences. Some things happen, and they happen around the same time as other things, and it's a coincidence. And oftentimes, we live in a world these days. Isn't that like a movie trailer? We live in a world where bad things happen. People try to tie them together. But it's true. There are coincidences in life. And a healthy brain, and this is true. Talk to psychologists. This is true. A healthy brain, a healthy mind, can allow two events to exist concurrently that seem to be related and allow them to remain unrelated. A healthy brain, a healthy mind, it's actually a sign of bad mental health. That when two things happen, you have to figure out a way to rationalize them together. You've got to figure out a way to connect them together. Look, just look for a second. I don't want to dwell on it, but the Atlantic piece from Jeff Goldberg about being in this group chat, the amount of people who have to explain it away as maliciousness because they can't accept incompetence, or the number of people who have to explain it away as some sort of genius plan to leak information that gets back-channeled to the Europeans. It's actually a sign of an unhealthy mind when you do that. If you see multiple things happen roughly around the same time, and you can't allow them to just exist, but you've got to figure out how they're tied together when they're probably not, that's actually not a good sign for your mental health. Coincidences do happen. Coincidences happen. And when you can't accept that coincidences happen, That's a warning sign about your mental health when you talk to a lot of psychologists. So I got a good mental health. I'm willing to allow coincidences to exist. I'm willing to allow that there are things that happen that are unrelated to each other. However, I'm going to put this one out there and let you determine for yourself whether you think this is a coincidence or not. A lawsuit has been filed on behalf of American families of victims of October 7th and of Israeli Columbia University students. They are suing Nardine Kizwani individually and as representative of Within Our Lifetimes United for Palestine, Miriam Alwan individually and as a representative of Columbia Students for Justice in Palestine, Cameron Jones individually and as a representative of Columbia Barnard Jewish Voice for Peace, and a name you'll be familiar with, Mahmoud Khalil, individually and as a representative of Columbia University Apartheid Divest Columbia Students for Justice in Palestine, and Columbia Barnard Jewish Voice for Peace. So these are Columbia University Israeli students and victims of the October 7th attack, and they're suing 3 individuals and related anti-Israel or pro-Palestinian groups at Columbia University. And I want to read for you the 92nd paragraph of the complaint. Now, for those of you who don't know, I assume most of you know, but just for those of you who don't know, bear with me, those of you who do know. When you file a lawsuit, you file what's called a complaint. The complaint has a caption at the top, and the caption is the court you're filing it in. There's a case number. When you first file it, you leave a blank line so that the court clerk can write it in. And then if you have a jury demand, that you have that there. And it shows who the plaintiffs are and the defendants. The plaintiffs are the people filing the lawsuit, and the defendants are the people about whom the lawsuit is filed against. And then you have paragraphs. And the numbered paragraphs comes now these plaintiffs filing this lawsuit, and then paragraph 1. Here's paragraph 1. Defendants in this case are Hamas's propaganda arm in New York City and on the Columbia University campus. We know this because they advertise themselves as such. Their self-described acts in furtherance of their goals to assist Hamas have included terrorizing and assaulting Jewish students, unlawfully taking over and damaging public and university property on Columbia's campus, and physically assaulting Columbia University employees. They act behind veiled scarves and largely seek to be anonymous individually, yet seek to intimidate as a group. This case will pull down those scarves and unveil acts that violate this country's anti-terrorism laws. This case will finally hold these admitted terrorists accountable for their actions. It is time for American campuses to return to being centers for learning and to be saved from the relentless occupation by Hamas's tragically misguided cohorts. The complaint is 79 pages long with exhibits, and that's the opening paragraph, paragraph 1. It's filed in the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York. Now, again, take everything I said about coincidences. A healthy mind allows 2 things to exist that happen at the same time without trying to tie them together. But I need to read you the 92nd paragraph. This is the 92nd paragraph. On information and belief, associational defendants had prior knowledge of the October 7th attack. The bases for that belief include the timing of the NSJP toolkit's distribution and the signing of the Tolfan al-Aqsa statement. The basis also include the toolkit's inclusion of paraglider graphics. And as to Columbia Student Justice for Palestine, the bases also include a highly suggestive social media post published moments before the October 7 attack began. 3 minutes before Hamas began its attack on October 7th, Columbia SJP, that is Columbia's Students for Justice in Palestine group, posted on Instagram, "We are back," and announced its first meeting of the semester would be announced and that viewers should stay tuned. Before that post, Columbia Students for Justice in Palestine account had been dormant for months. I'm willing to believe that there are coincidences. I have a hard time believing that it is a coincidence that 3 minutes before Hamas began its attack on October 7th, that Columbia's Students for Justice in Palestine account just so happened to come back to life. And the very next day, there were demonstrators on that campus wearing their scarves with fresh, brand new Palestinian flags, still with creases and professionally painted signs. I want to know who bought them. Where in New York City did they go to stockpile brand new Palestinian flags within 24 hours of the terror attack? Where did they go? I'm sorry, but as much as I'm willing to believe coincidences, I have a real hard time believing a student account just coincidentally came online minutes before the Hamas attack. Not only that, Hamas had never used paragliders to attack Israel. And the media toolkit that came out within hours, it was pre-printed and ready to go. And it used terrorists and paragliders as the graphic. A healthy mind can accept coincidences happen without having to tie things together. I think a curious mind would have to wonder why a dormant Instagram account sprang back to life 3 minutes before Hamas attacks Israel to then become one of the chief defenders of Hamas, that account, within hours of the attack. A healthy mind can keep incidents separate and not have to tie them together, can accept coincidences. But a curious mind has to wonder how so many protesters got brand new Palestinian flags flying in less than 24 hours from when Hamas attacked Israel. So those flags so new they still had the folded creases for the packaging. A healthy mind can accept coincidences, but I sure think a curious mind wants to know, how is it that the media toolkits from some of these groups had terrorists and paragliders as the graphical symbol for the toolkit when that had just transpired on October 7th and was something brand new that had never been done by Hamas before? How did that happen? I just have a hard time accepting this as a coincidence. This is a lawsuit filed in the Southern District of New York, and this is a major revelation that has come out. This is from the Jerusalem Post. The victims of this lawsuit are seeking damages for activities aiding and abetting Gazan terrorist organizations, with some groups whom Hamas members reportedly saw as operatives reactivating just before the pogrom, and others issuing protest and propaganda material as the event unfolded in southern Israel. The timing here is really, really wild. 83 Students for Justice in Palestine chapters, including Columbia, signed and disseminated a statement in support of Hamas on midnight at the end of the day of the attack, leading the suit to insinuate that the content must have been drafted, reviewed, and signed by dozens of organizations before and or during the events of October 7th themselves. The Bears for Palestine solidarity statement honored terrorists working on the ground on several axes of the so-called Gaza envelope alongside our comrades in blood and arms, and offered support for the resistance in Gaza and the Hamas operation as a revolutionary moment. The statement was shared as part of the October 8th, 2023 National Students for Justice in Palestine's Toolkit. Then nationwide October 12th rallies included materials that appeared to have been created before October 7th. The Day of Resistance Toolkit included October 7th themed graphics, one of which Kizwani alleged published on Instagram on October 7th, a day before the toolkit was released. The framers of the toolkit argued that Israeli victims of October 7th were not civilians because they were settlers, and that all forms of resistance, including armed struggle, are legitimate. The suit alleges that the Columbia Students for Justice in Palestine and other groups utilized the toolkit as part of their direct response to repeated Hamas calls for mass mobilization. Y'all, I have a hard time accepting as coincidence that a group that we know, the Students for Justice in Palestine groups, have gotten foreign funding. We don't know that this one did, but we know a lot of them have. I just have a hard time accepting it as a coincidence that this group turned its account back on 3 minutes before the attack began. It seems like there are some really legitimate questions being raised here that should be on everyone's radar. What level of coordination was going on before this attack? And also, how many of these students in these groups are actually not just terrorist sympathizers, but collaborative with terrorists? We need answers.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
121 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory continues up into the Buford and Sugar Hill area. Crash 985 northbound before Buford Drive, exit 4. Traffic Trooper James says at times all lanes blocked. You're slow back to 85. Use Satellite Boulevard or Buford Highway. Crash and debris cleanup looks to have cleared. 285 southbound, the outer loop around Cascade Road, exit 7, but delays continue leaving I-20. Traffic brought to you by Zinchi Handcrafted Sushi. Craving something fresh and flavorful? Discover Zinchi Handcrafted Sushi. High quality, affordable, and made fresh daily. Find Zinchi Sushi today at your local Publix markets right by the seafood counter. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
The U.S. is investing up to $1 billion to fight the spread of bird flu.
At the top and bottom of every hour.
Traffic congestion around Metro Atlanta continues to cost commuters.
And when it breaks.
The suspect is in critical condition after being struck multiple times.
Check back 3, 4, 5 times a day for the latest.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
Your deck is more than just a place to flip a burger or have a cup of coffee. It gathers your friends and family on all your favorite occasions and is there to enjoy every day. Hi, I'm Scott Nelson, owner of Nelson Exteriors, and we build beautiful, high-quality decks at a reasonable price. We're licensed and insured, provide exceptional customer service, design help, and we'll work with the materials you want. Strength, durability, beauty. Decks done differently. Built by Nelson Exteriors. Get your free estimate. Google Nelson Exteriors.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
It's Eric here, and with the election ended, there is change in the air. A new day dawns for American businesses. New regulations, new deregulation, new tax plan, new tax cuts. You may be smelling opportunity in the air. You may be seeing opportunity. Now is the time to consider reaching out to First Liberty Building and Loan and see if they might be able to help you put your plan that's in your head down to paper and see if they can help you capitalize on it. There are so many opportunities out there. If you need to borrow $750,000 or more, well, First Liberty might be able to help you. They make their own lending decisions. They've been doing it since the 90s. They know how to do it, and because the Frost family's been helping businesses since the 90s, they're still going to be there. You're not going to have lender rollover like you've had at other places. Reach out to them, firstlibertyga.com. FirstLibertyGA.com. Spend 10 minutes with them, see if you're a fit for them and them for you. FirstLibertyGA.com.
Creation displays such a beautiful landscape. You deserve to see it all. Don't let your old, big, and bulky windows block your view.
It's Jonathan and Ted from North Georgia Replacement Windows. Brighten your home with more daylight and bigger views with Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows.
Our windows come with narrow frames giving you more light. Experience the Infinity from Marvin fiberglass difference at your home or in our new Alpharetta showroom.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or consumercellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Taking the complicated and making it simple. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Hi there. It is Eric Erickson here, and I'm delighted to have you. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, happy to have you. If you follow along on Instagram, EW Erickson on Instagram, I will be posting some pictures of Max, the new dog. He comes on Thursday. My wife's headed to pick him up in Alabama tomorrow. Those of you on the phones, I only have about a minute here. I don't want to rush your phone call, so be patient with me on the other side. I will take your phone calls before I move on to other stuff. But first, so have you submitted your DNA to 23andMe? I never went down that rabbit hole with 23andMe. I don't have a desire to find out who I'm kin to. My mother does genealogy. I know I am kin to Adam and Eve. I am kin to Noah. I'm from the South, so naturally I'm kin to Robert E. Lee because everyone from the South claims to be kin to Robert E. Lee, allegedly. I am kin to the Vikings. I don't need 23andMe. That's what my mom is for in her genealogy research. But some of you went down the 23andMe rabbit hole, and guess what? It's going bankrupt. It is going bankrupt, and the CEO has tried to protect the DNA data. The CEO of the company tried to take it private, but was completely rebuffed by the board of directors. And, well, now they've gone bankrupt, and I don't know who's getting your DNA samples. I have no idea, but someone is going to be getting your DNA samples that you voluntarily handed over to some organization because curiosity got the better of you and you wanted to find out who you were kin to. Now, you could call Swiss America and find out about the secret war on cash if curiosity gets the better of you there. They've been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years, and they're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash from this secret war on cash, get their report. It takes less than 15 minutes to read. I have read it. You get it completely free. It can save on your retirement and finances. What you do is you call or text my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 800-289-2646. They're not even going to ask you for your DNA. It's going to be tradable from 23andMe. They're going to just ask for your mailing address so they can send you this free report. It takes less than 15 minutes to read. By the way, It includes digital forms of currency. So get the report for free, the Secret War on Cash from Swiss America. Just mention Eric, E-R-I-C-K, when you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. The state Senate voting 54-2 on final passage of a bill banning cell phones for kids in K through 8 here in Georgia. The legislation prohibits use of personal electronic devices during the school day. State Senator Jason Anavatarte.
The evidence is clear. One of the biggest threats to academic performance, students' mental health, and public safety are cell phones in our schools.
The measure now goes to the governor's desk. The pollen count's extremely high again today.
Yeah, I can definitely tell that there's, pollen in the air.
The pollen count is 1,295. It's tree pollens that are the main culprits: oak, pine, birch, sweet gum, and hackberry. There's also a fire danger warning from the National Weather Service. Dry conditions and high winds could spark wildfires. Outdoor burning strongly discouraged. So far this year, Georgia has seen more than 1,600 fires, and the number of acres burned this year, nearly 14,000. A sinkhole has opened on North Avenue in Midtown Atlanta near the Coca-Cola building. It's about 3 feet deep, 2 feet wide. At least one car wrecked after hitting that hole. Atlanta police directing traffic away from it. One lane is open in the area, which is close to Lucky Street. The Country Music Hall of Fame has announced its class of 2025. This year's inductees are longtime record producer Tony Brown, songwriter June Carter Cash, and Kenny Chesney. And now, your money. The U.S. Census Bureau reporting that new home sales in February rose nearly 2% higher from the previous month and were up more than 5% compared to a year earlier, with buyers getting some help from a decline in sales prices for new homes. Overall, home prices rose in January at a faster pace than in December, that according to the S&P Case-Shiller Index, with the national price rising about 4.1%. It's 1:32.
So, a guy knocks on your door, shows you a shingle that fell off your roof, and then tells you that your roof needs replacing? Sound familiar? Did he also ask for the name of your insurance company? Hi, this is Candace from Exovations, and I want to tell you what you should do the next time someone like this knocks on your door. Smile nicely, say no thank you, close the door, and call Exovations. Why? Because too many times roofers like this end up getting your home insurance policy canceled. At Exovations, we'll first determine if you actually need a new roof. Then we'll discuss all of the roof system and shingle options. And we'll make sure that your roof is installed on time, on budget, and without all the stress caused by Mr. Knock on My Front Door roofing guy. Schedule a free consultation today at exovations.com. That's EXOVATIONS.com.
Why does it matter that D. Geller & Son is Atlanta's first diamond wholesaler? Because we get first dibs. When diamonds come to Atlanta, they come to D. Geller & Son first. A bunch of diamonds that look the same on paper, but there's about 1 in every 10 that you can see from across the room, and a lot in every 10 that are what my dad calls duds. So we keep the good one, we pack the rest back up, and they go somewhere else. That somewhere else is usually a big box store that's not quite as picky. That means the same color, same clarity, and same price gets you more brilliance, more sparkle, more bang for your diamond buck at D. Geller & Son. That's what we call the D. Geller difference. So why are we so picky? We live, work, and play right here in Atlanta. So when it comes to getting you the best diamond, we have to get it right. That's why Atlanta's first diamond wholesaler became Atlanta's favorite diamond retailer. Come see the D. Geller & Son difference for yourself and find out why we've been Atlanta's most trusted jeweler since 1939. In Atlanta, Kennesaw, and Sandy Springs, online at dgeller.com.
It all started as a front door dream. You want those beautiful double doors for the front entrance of your home. But every company you talk to said that single door just can't go double. But with us, you can. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. We specialize in removing your dated single front door, side lights, and transom, replacing them with a beautiful double door, customized for that space to impress and welcome your guests. Get started at all4seasonsgarages.com.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather, Alex Williams.
Travel advisory continues in northern Gwinnett. Crash 985 northbound before Buford Drive. Right lane blocked. Use Satellite Boulevard or Buford Highway. Crash cleared 285 southbound, the outer loop around Cascade Road. And that sinkhole repair continues on North Avenue right around Tech Parkway. Eastbound tougher than westbound delays. If you'd like, you can use 10th Street, but no big need. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies today, high 76, lows tonight in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 74. Thursday, sunshine, morning lows in the mid-40s, daytime highs in the mid-70s.
72 degrees in Dunwoody at 71 in Social Circle and Riverdale. We'll have more news at 2 o'clock, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Hello and welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across America. Delighted to have you with me. The phone number is 877-973-7425. So I gotta be honest with you. I love all of my affiliates. I genuinely love all my affiliates. I got my start, my flagship station, WSB in Atlanta, totally by accident back in 2011. And then they put me on when I wanted to stretch my reach on their Athens affiliate, WGAU. And then my first station outside of Georgia was WEEB up in Southern Pines, North Carolina. We're going to be doing a live event up there in May 9th. Looking forward to that. And then there's my home state. I am from the great state of Louisiana. And a couple of weeks ago, we went live on the ginormous 96.5 KPEL in Lafayette. We had been on the AM station there, and now we're on the FM station in Lafayette. I have many great memories of eating in Lafayette because that's what you do in South Louisiana. You eat good food. Being from Louisiana as well, we know there are parishes, not just counties of the nation, and I'm going to go first on the phone today to Mary, calling from Lafayette. Not in Georgia. They refer to it as Lafayette. I'll never understand that. It's Lafayette. Mary, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for taking my call from a fellow Southerner.
Amen to that. Welcome.
I wanted to call your attention and your listeners to the University of Pittsburgh Fetal Tissue Lab, which is one of the oldest and largest in the country. I've been working for a few years to try to shut the funding down because there's so many atrocities that take place. Mm-hmm. One of them is they recruit fetal tissue from the McGee Center, and they sell fetal tissue. Now, there are legal ways around it that they do that, and I won't go into the atrocities. I believe the NIH is about to defund them, and I'd like to ask you and your listeners to call the NIH, call the White House, call your senators, because this lab in particular is very heinous and very evil, and I just wanted to make your listeners aware of that. I believe NIH is about to defund it. I'm praying that they are. There are so many viable alternatives to using fetal tissue in medical research.
So, okay, Mary, this is a perfect, relatable tie-in. I'm actually on, drum roll please, a Signal chat about this very issue with some people who are in the Trump administration. And yeah, I actually think this is finally going to be shut down. So for those of you who don't know what Mary's talking about, as DOJ tries to find things to cut and different interest groups are trying to raise the flags about stuff, the University of Pennsylvania has a fetal tissue research wing. It is a top 10 NIH-funded institution. The Republicans in Pennsylvania have tried to shut down state funding for this organization for a very long time because it doesn't just there are all sorts of questions about how it acquires the fetal tissue, what it does with the fetal tissue, does it sell the fetal tissue? Planned Parenthood has had ties related to funding fetal tissue to the fetal tissue bank. There are all sorts of questions about unethical experimentation. The university did a self-funded investigation that, surprise, turns out everything was hunky-dory and fine. But the House of Representatives in Pennsylvania has looked at it, and they've raised questions. The Republicans have. And so this actually is on the radar. I literally am in a Signal chat with a group of people, and it is on the radar that it might very well be shut down. Now, here's the thing you have to understand before you get all freaked out about medical research. We actually now know that adult stem cells are functionally equivalent to fetal stem cells in much of what we want. Not every which way, but almost every way, without any sort of ethical issues. And we do know that a number of these fetal tissue banks are actually buying aborted children on which to do research. And it's kind of gross. And there are plenty of ways to do the same research without having to deal with the ethical issues of an aborted child being used for the research. So that's why a lot of people are looking into it. Now, Adam's been waiting very patiently. Adam, welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing well, Eric. Good afternoon. I live in Dublin, Georgia, which nobody knows where it is, but it's about halfway between Macon and Savannah on I-16. So
I know where it is. I've
been in Atlanta for work the past couple of days. I was heading home this afternoon listening to you on the WSB app, and I saw a billboard that said, "Tariffs are a tax on your groceries, proudly paid for by the government of Canada." And I laughed for about 5 minutes and then had the realization and wanted to ask you, why are we not talking more about the tariffs and that pushing us back towards the goals that we had in the late 80s, early 90s with buy American, buy local, and buy seasonal? Well, where is that bit in the conversation?
Well, the problem, Adam, is that if you buy local and seasonal, oftentimes you're asking people to pay a little more than the mass-produced groceries. And Americans have valued cheaper products over the years. So I got to tell you, my favorite restaurant on planet Earth is a place called Table in Maine. It is in Roswell, Georgia. And one of the things that, in fact, every time I'm up there, I run into listeners from my show. And if you show up early, you can see the farmers drop off their produce. That's how fresh it is. So most of their ingredients are from within 30 miles of the restaurant, and I love it. But also, it's not the cheapest restaurant. And this is a trade-off. Global trade, for all of the talk about, if we bought seasonal and we bought local, we only bought stuff from local farms, our quality of eating would probably be better, except the poor can't do that. Global trade has helped poor people have more access to more stuff than ever before. And that has been our values assessment in the United States. Now, this is one of those issues where if you're listening right now, don't yell at me for just conveying the issue to you. All I'm doing is saying that it actually is something that our government and we as a people have valued over the last 20, 30 years is access to cheaply priced products. If you want to say it's too consumerist, that's fine. But, the groceries that you buy at the grocery store think of the banana. You can get a banana 365 days a year, because we have a global supply chain that brings in bananas when it's off-season here. It's on-season in South America. They can import them cheaply. Or think about the Honeycrisp apples. You get the Honeycrisp apples that are they're harvested like August, September, except we have a global supply chain, so we can get them in from all over the world, so we can get them pretty much any time of year. We always know that they're freshest in the fall. A pastor friend of mine is a huge fan of the Pink Lady apple. And the Pink Lady apple, given its sugar content and stuff, it really is only great later in the year. That a particular few weeks of the year, you can get a great Pink Lady apple at the grocery store, and you can tell the difference. But also, if you're a poor person in this country and you want an apple, do you care what the price of the apple is, or do you care what the apple is? I suspect you care more about price, because price matters. And as we impose tariffs on groceries coming from Mexico and China, or Mexico and Canada, yeah, the cost is going to go up. And you can use this as an incentive to get people to eat better, to shop the perimeter of the grocery store instead of the interior of the grocery store, as people say. But you're also on fruits and vegetables and things like that. You are driving up prices. So the question really is, what should we value? Should we value eating local and seasonal? Well, if you're a person who has a good income, that's easy to say. But if you're a poor person who needs access to cheap food to be able to make ends meet, well, it's easy for you to go with cheap prices. So you got to keep that balance in mind. And it's one of the balances where there are some, including I think J.D. Vance would argue that we have overcorrected to cheapness at the price of jobs in this country that could potentially pay higher wages so that people could buy more expensive stuff. And we can leave that to the economists to argue about. But, yeah, I prefer to buy things fresh and seasonal. I love farmers markets. We don't have a fantastic one where I live, but I can drive and go to a farmer's market and get stuff fresh. I love to cook with fresh vegetables. But also, it's a bigger pain in the butt. I mean, the reality here is, well, let me tell you a side story. And this gets me off where I want to go, where I wanted to go was really too boring to engage with anyway on the budget. But I had a lady one time call me. She was a big advocate of getting rid of Common Core, and she wanted school choice. I've told the story several times. She worked 3 jobs. Her husband was not in the picture. She had multiple kids. She was furious with Common Core because she actually worked part-time as an accountant, among other things. This woman, she cleaned office spaces at night. She worked part-time in an accounting office, in a local accounting office, and she did something else. Her mom came over and took care of the kids in the morning to get them ready for school, and all she wanted to do at night was help her kids with the homework, and she couldn't help her kids with Common Core math. She had to go. The school told her she could show up and take classes to teach her kids Common Core, and she's like, I'm an accountant. To make ends meet, I also clean office spaces and do other stuff to keep my family together. I don't have time to go learn Common Core math, teach my kids a new way of doing math when math should be math. And she was furious about it. This is a woman who was not during the week making dinner for her family unless it came out of a can or a frozen food section. She didn't have the money and she didn't have the time. Some of us have the money, some of us have the time. And when we're balancing the equation of where do we get our food from, tariffs or no tariffs, you got to keep in mind there are a class of people in this country working multiple jobs who do actually value healthier meals, but it's also cheaper for them to get their vegetables out of a can than to go to the grocery store and try to deal with the raw vegetables and the dried beans and soak them for 24 hours and all that. And we're making these trade-offs. We got to keep in mind. It's not so easy when you're dealing with 350 million people of different life expectancies and life circumstances. It's one of the reasons why I think a lot of the people who look at Canada or Scotland or England for our healthcare solutions are forgetting we are a nation of 3 times as many people of greater diversity geographically, race, etc., and that one-size-fits-all approach doesn't necessarily work. We got to balance those things out. Blaming tariffs right now for higher prices, though, is something I think the Trump administration's going to need to be concerned with. Tyler, you're going to be up next. Welcome.
Hey, Eric. I just want to start off by saying can't wait for one of your next get-togethers because I have a pack of cigars from the Dominican for you when I see you.
Man, I appreciate it.
I'm in McDonough, not far from you. So love
nice.
listening. My question was about the lawsuit on the Palestinian supporters or group. Is there any way, because that does sound very fishy, that like the DHS or something could look into that more, check their stuff? Like, it seems like it'd be enough for, like, you know, a judge to sign off to let them do a search.
So, yeah, I think there's got to be more of an investigation on this. I'm sorry, but I can believe in coincidences, but 3 minutes before the attack, that account goes live after being dormant. There have got to be some back channel conversations, and I definitely think the government needs to look into it. And in fact, you know, considering that the one guy, what is Mahmoud Khalil or whatever, is the guy they're trying to deport for ties to terrorism, I suspect this lawsuit's going to get a lot of attention in Washington, D.C., and probably cause more investigations, and it should. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you about Vision Computers because we keep talking about tariffs on groceries and other things. April 2nd is the day that reciprocal tariffs go into effect. And technology may now be exempted from the tariffs. We're not 100% sure yet. But if you are on the verge of getting a computer, you may want to call Vision Computer today at 404-COMPUTER. Go to visioncomputers.com and see if you can get your order in before the tariffs kick in so that you can minimize cost impact from tariffs. If you're looking at doing technology upgrades, Vision Computer can save you money, build you bleeding edge machine that keeps up with all the latest AI, with all the latest GPUs and CPUs, with the RAM that you need, all of that. And if those things are nonsensical terms to you, well, Vision Computer can explain them to you. Call them at 404-COMPUTER. Go to visioncomputers.com. If you buy your computer from them, you get their 5-star service for free. If you just want their service where you have a phone number you can call anytime, 24/7, day or night, get the answer to what's going on with your computer, they can remote in, check it, fix it, whatever you need, you can get that for just $179 a year if you don't want the computer from them. But if you buy a computer from them, that comes free. Go to visioncomputers.com or call them at 404-COMPUTE. Tell them Eric sent you. You're going to save even more money. 404-COMPUTER, visioncomputers.com.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
150 Cool Day Carrier, WSP 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory continues on 985 northbound in Gwinnett County. Right lane crash before Buford Drive, exit 4, jams you up from I-85. Think about using Satellite Boulevard or Buford Highway as some alternates. Elsewhere, you've had construction in the left lane of the I-20 eastbound collector distributor ramp in DeKalb County between 285 and Wesley Chapel. That's the reason for the 285 eastbound delays starting just before Flat Shoals Road. Traffic brought to you by the Georgia Lottery. Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is $344 million. Select the multi-draw feature and stay in the game for the next several jackpot drawings. Drawings every Tuesday and Friday. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
The news of the day through the eyes of Eric Von Hessler.
I've listened to many arguments, and there are good arguments to say that we shouldn't. I'm just saying.
If it's on your mind, it's on his.
This is the only way to do it. Some people are going to lose their job, and then they're going to be put back in the job.
Eric Von Hessler, today at 3.
It's about you. You're being celebrated.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Scott Slade here to talk to you about your health, and I think it's real important to talk about what is most likely to kill you. Heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, and the older we get, the more prevalent it is. But you can reduce your risk. Eat right, don't smoke, exercise, and be informed about what's going on in your own body. Like lots of potentially serious health problems, if you catch heart disease early, you vastly increase your chances of living a longer life. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease. Other scans, including brain and full body, are available too. Virtual imaging is locally owned and operated in Atlanta for over 15 years, so they can make you this terrific offer. A complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse with a few minimum requirements. So don't put this off. I've done it. Call Virtual Imaging today for your free heart scan. 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-7226. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Has your driveway, sidewalk, or patio cracked and become uneven? AquaGuard Foundation Solutions can fix it. Simply book your appointment online at aquaguard.net and AquaGuard will quickly and expertly get it back in shape. Concrete issues? Remember, AquaGuard.
Hope. It's more than a word. It's a breakthrough in the making. At City of Hope, we're pushing the boundaries of science, targeting cancer at the molecular level, with teams of experts working together to personalize a treatment plan right down to your DNA with unprecedented speed, making every second count, with appointments in as little as 24 hours. City of Hope, advancing cancer care at life-saving speed. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
Hi, this is Mark Spain, and our offers are the strongest in the industry. When you receive a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, there's no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
He may not tell you what you want to hear, but he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
And we got a breaking news item hitting the wires from the Wall Street Journal. The Trump administration intends to freeze family planning grants. Tens of millions of dollars in federal funding to Planned Parenthood and similarly situated groups will be cut while the administration examines their DEI efforts. That is hitting the news wires right now. Donald Trump cutting millions of dollars to Planned Parenthood. Ed, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the show, Ed. How are you?
Yes, Eric, I got a question. I'm glad you brought up the food situation in this country. Why is it that back in the 80s and 90s, food were a lot cheaper, and I didn't have any problems finding organic food from my local grocery store, because back then the family farm was strong, and now ever since these factory farms, these big farms took over, that's when prices started increasing. Don't you agree?
Not really. No, adjusted for inflation, actually, up until COVID, we've actually had many more and more access in the last 20 years to organic food. Grocery stores have an overabundance now. It's absolutely true that a gallon of milk in the 1980s was cheaper than a gallon of milk today. But also that has a lot to do with the price of inflation. Economists every day has this grocery price nostalgia 1980 edition. This is from 2024. Many people have nostalgia for nominal prices of the past. I've written about this topic a number of times. One area is food prices of the past, specifically grocery prices. When I've addressed grocery price inflation since 2021 in another post, there's another version of the grocery price nostalgia that goes back to the 1980s and the media-fed frequency of nostalgia for the 1980s. Could you buy all these groceries for $20 in 1980? How should we think about grocery prices today? One approach to grocery affordability is to look at how much a family spends as a share of their budget. The bottom line is that actually, contrary to what you may read in the press, groceries today as a whole tend to be cheaper than groceries in the 1980s when adjusted for inflation. In charting 23 out of 24 items, groceries are now cheaper than they were in the 1980s. So from 1980 to 2024, the price of bone-in pork chops is down 47.8%. The price of coffee is down 53.6%. The price of bananas is down 60.1%. The price of eggs, even adjusting for the present egg shortage, down 19%. The only grocery price that's actually higher now than it was in 1980, adjusted for inflation, is bacon. That's actually also, by the way, this is another metric is the percentage change in the number of minutes needed to buy a product. The data ultimately amounts to, grocery prices today are higher than they were in 1980, but adjusted for inflation, actually, we're doing really good with more availability, more variety, and more grocery stores than we had in 1980. It just seems to be more expensive. That's how we talk, even though it's not actually backed by the data. When we come back, though, there's something that really is more expensive.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Our firm handles hundreds of crash cases involving semi-trucks every year. A crash case involving semis is much different, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can leave lots of money on the table. Many times there is separate insurance for the cab and for the trailer. Sometimes there are actually layers of other insurances and excess insurance that some lawyers may not know about because they don't see that many cases. We see these cases every day. Also, there are federal laws governing the hours a driver may drive in a 24-hour period and logs that are required. A crash case involving a semi-truck is a totally different animal than a simple car crash. We have lawyers who only handle these cases. It's all they do. Rolling the dice with the wrong law firm can be disastrous. Call us on your cell phone at Pound Law, pound 529. It's so easy.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. A bill banning cell phones in Georgia public schools passes under the Gold Dome. WSB's Jonathan O'Brien reports live from the state capitol. The vote is overwhelming.
Yeah, Bill, it was 54-2 in favor of this legislation, which prohibits the use of personal electronic devices during school hours for kindergarten through 8th grade students during the school day. Advocates say this will help students learn and teachers be able to teach. Senator Jason Anabatarte carried the bill in the Senate.
The evidence is clear. One of the biggest threats to academic performance, students' mental health, and public safety are cell phones in our schools.
Now, parents expressed concerns that they wouldn't be able to contact their kids if there were an emergency at school. Districts will have some say in the way that this ban is implemented. The measure now awaits Governor Kemp's signature. Reporting live at the state capitol, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
73 degrees in Atlanta. Sunshine rules the next few days. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. High-level changes at the Atlanta-based CDC.
The departures of 5 high-level managers announced at a meeting earlier today of senior leaders. They are described as retirements. Some of the departments that these individuals worked: the CDC's Public Health Infrastructure Center, the National Center on Birth Defects and Developmental Disabilities, and the Office of Policy Performance and Evaluation. This means close to a third of the agency's top management is leaving or left recently.
WSB Health reporter Sabrina Cupid says today's announcement comes a day after the White House announced it's nominating Susan Menarez to be CDC director. Georgia Senator Jon Ossoff blasting CIA Director John Ratliff today about a reporter being accidentally added to a group chat discussing plans to strike Houthi targets in Yemen.
This is utterly unprofessional. There's been no apology. There has been no recognition of the gravity of this error. And by the way, we will get the full transcript of this change.
President Trump says National Security Advisor Mike Waltz has learned a lesson from this incident. The White House says no war plans were discussed and no classified material was sent to the thread. Repairs are underway after a sinkhole opens on North Avenue in Midtown Atlanta near Coca-Cola headquarters.
It was literally 5 foot deep. I could stand in it comfortably.
David Kimbrough tells Channel 2 Action News he got a flat tire after driving his car over the hole. Crews are on the scene making repairs. Atlanta police are directing traffic away from the hole, which is close to Lucky Street. It is now 2:02, and this news is sponsored by Brett Beckers. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz, and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no, and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 40-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost you about $100 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-239-1749. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance to buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-239-1749. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-239-1749. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800-239-1749. 800-239-1749 or biglou.com.
It's Eric. I don't know about y'all, but life happens in our kitchen. It's where we have our memories, our family time, our laughs. Well, you don't want a lot of downtime, but you may want to renovate your kitchen. You want one of those $1 million kitchen looks and get it at the fraction of the cost with Frugal Kitchens. They know that you've got plans for your kitchen, and they want to help you. And here's why I love them. They can have you cooking in 5 days from the start of construction and get you 18 months no-interest financing. FrugalKitchens.com. That's where you want to check them out. FrugalKitchens.com.
It is 2:05 and time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. In the 24-hour traffic center this afternoon, it is Alex Williams.
New trouble in the Midtown crash, second left lane, 85 southbound before 17th Street. That's now starting to slow the ride on 400 southbound approaching Sidney Marcus. Crash still on 985 northbound. I believe it's got the right lane blocked now before Buford Drive, exit 4. You're slow from I-85. Use Satellite Boulevard or Buford Highway. And checking on, looks like maybe new trouble downtown, 75-85 northbound up around 10th Street. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies today, high 76, lows tonight in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 74. Thursday, sunshine, morning lows in the mid-40s, daytime highs in the mid-70s.
Christina expecting dry conditions for the rest of this week. We may reach 80 for the first time this spring, either Friday or Saturday, watching for potential severe storms on Sunday. Right now, sunshine, 72 in Marietta, 71 in Chattahoochee Hills, 72 in Lawrenceville. More news at 2:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello, America. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be happy to have you. Don't forget, text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, and you can get the show notes, the live stream, the podcast, all my social media links. Follow me on Instagram before Thursday when Max shows up. The new dog. I have been inundated during commercial break over my last caller. People ran to the Bureau of Labor Statistics and said, Erickson, you're lying. Grocery prices are up 205% from 1980 to 2024. That's the data. Groceries are up 205%. Clearly, I'm lying. Friends, I am not the brightest star in the sky. I am not the brightest bulb in the ceiling, and I am not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I'm not. But I do know a thing or two. And you cannot look at the price of groceries between 1980 and 2024 and see that the median price of groceries has gone up 205% without looking at the corresponding data on wages. Because, yes, it is true. A loaf of bread in 1980, adjusted for today, has gone up 205%, adjusted for inflation. But median household income from 1980 to today is up over 500%. You have to look at that number too. You can't just look at the price of the grocery. You have to look at wages. And wages in this country have gone up higher, more rapidly. Even after COVID, inflation, and all of that, grocery wages are still higher than they were in 1980 for the same job. So, yeah, grocery prices have actually gone down. because even though they've gone up in price over time, remember, we bake in 2% a year inflation. Generally, we want prices to go up over time. It's actually healthy for the economy. It's wages. Wages go up even more. So groceries are up over 200%, but wages in the same period of time are up over 500%. Therefore, your grocery bill is actually lower now. Your spending power has gotten to be so much more, you can buy more groceries now. So you got to think about that. There is this urban legend that you can't buy $20 worth, the same amount of $20 worth of groceries today as you could back then. It's not the same. That's true. But when you actually adjust the $20 for inflation and wage growth over time, you actually have more than $20. So keep that in mind. I do actually try not to BS you. I do try to tell you the accurate truth. And the accurate truth is that, yes, grocery prices went up, but when you adjust for wages, actually grocery prices have gone down pretty significantly. In fact, there are only two major grocery commodities that have gone up. One is oranges. Oranges are up 1.9%. When you adjust for wages and grocery prices, oranges are up 1.9% from 1980 to now. And then bacon is up 7.7%. And bacon actually has a lot to do with the consolidation, not just the consolidation of the number of pig farmers in this country. It's now like 3 companies, but also regulations. Regulations in California and a couple other states have driven up the cost of processing bacon in this country pretty astonishingly. Now, contrast that with pork chops. Pork chops are now 45% cheaper than they were in 1980, but bacon has gone up in large part because of the processing rules. Interestingly enough, white bread has only gone down 8%, and strawberries have only gone down 0.5% from 1980 to 2024. All of this, though, gets me to something else. Let's take a larger macro picture of prices. So if you look at just the data on groceries from 1980 to 2024, they've gone up 201%. When you actually look at wages and add that in, wages have gone up over 500%. So actually, grocery prices relative to your spending power have gone down. One of the areas where grocery prices have increased is bacon. And as I mentioned, the reason bacon has gone up in overall price compared with wages is because of regulation, government regulation related to pigs, farms, processing, and things like that. Now, let's step further out. So there's a book. I haven't read it, Abundance. I've read several reviews of it. It's Ezra Klein, the left-wing writer, and Derek Thompson from The Atlantic. Is it Derek Thompson? Yes, Derek Thompson. Derek Thomas, my seminary professor, Derek Thompson, the economic writer at The Atlantic. And essentially one of the things they're saying is that public-private partnership is good, but the left needs to get over itself in regulation. Regulation is driving up costs. One of the examples that they use and that everyone else uses is the high-speed rail in California. California has spent billions of dollars trying to build a high-speed rail line from Southern California to San Francisco, and they haven't laid any track yet. Well, they've laid a little bit of track, but not much. They haven't built the railroad. Now, compare that to the Bright Line in Florida. I haven't ridden on the Bright Line. Several friends of mine take the Bright Line. It goes from, it's a high-speed rail system from Orlando to Miami. And it's apparently very fast, very comfortable, has great Wi-Fi, and it goes from a downtown to a downtown. You don't have to worry about cars. There's plenty of public transportation, particularly in the Miami area where it gets out. People love it. It is a private rail. They're building one from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. Now, I got a number of friends of mine who live in the LA area, actors, people who work in the industry. They love to go to Las Vegas. I love to go to Las Vegas. I actually do like Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a happy place for me. Now, why is Las Vegas happy? I'm not a big gambler, but have you seen me? I love to eat. And Las Vegas has some of my favorite restaurants on planet Earth are in Las Vegas. And Wing Li is my favorite Chinese restaurant. It's at the Wynn. It's the only Michelin-starred Chinese restaurant in the Western Hemisphere. I enjoy going to Las Vegas. I would like to be in Las Vegas right now, as a matter of fact. I'm going at the end of April on a golf trip. They're building a high-speed rail line from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. I know a lot of people who drive from L.A. to Vegas. It's a multi-hour trip, and this line will shave several hours off of it. Now, what's so notable is that in Nevada, they're able to build this line very, very quickly. When they get across the line into California, however, progress comes to a halt. It comes to a halt for a number of reasons, chief among them, government regulation. Environmental regulations, regulations related to earthquake construction. They got a host of problems when it comes to building this in California. But wait, there's more, and it is completely unrelated to that. In Great Britain now, they're going to build a new tunnel under the Thames. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, you've never been over there, if you look at a map of London, there is a river that runs through London, and it is spelled Thames, Thames. It is pronounced the Thames. The Thames is the famous river that runs through London, goes past Windsor Castle, goes out to sea, and they're building a tunnel under it to connect York and Essex. Now, that's an esoteric thing for you. You don't really care that in London they're building a bridge, and it's not really in London. It's in territory outside of London. But they need to build this tunnel to go under the Thames to connect areas. There aren't actually a lot of major roads over the Thames. They need one. And what they're going to do is, instead of building a bridge, they're going to build the tunnel. This tunnel is going to cost billions. This tunnel has been in development since 2011. They have not even begun to dig dirt for this tunnel. It's absurd how long it has taken. And it all comes down to regulation. And that, my friends, is the problem we're seeing in the West. In China, they can build power plants without any regulation. In China, they recognize that they need new development. I was talking to a buddy of mine. I'm not going to tell you who. Some of you would know him. He's kind of a big deal. Maybe he's listening right now. He's an attorney general in one of the states, pretty prominent one. I was talking the other day about how China is just eating our lunch when it comes to business development, when it comes to so much energy development and the like. And he pointed out that it actually is a national security issue, that the Chinese are using in this country, as I mentioned the other day, they're using environmentalists to slow down the pace of development of this country, because we now know that data centers and AI development require enormous amounts of power. So if China can slow our power production in this country, China can slow our advanced development in this country. And the Chinese are using environmentalist groups to obstruct in this country. And we're seeing it not just with data centers, we're seeing it with roads and bridges. Think about, in Georgia, I-85 collapsed. In Atlanta, some homeless dudes lit a fire under it. It weakened the bridge. This has been a number of years ago. They were able to rebuild that section of I-85 in Atlanta within 30 days. Or just a couple of years ago in Pennsylvania, a bridge collapsed on the interstate, and the governor of Pennsylvania waived all the regulations 24/7. Transportation workers, the left wants you to know they were unionized. They rebuilt this section of the interstate in Pennsylvania. They did it within 12 days. Or look at Ron DeSantis down in Florida. A couple of years ago, hurricane came through, took out a bridge. They had the bridge rebuilt in less than a week because they waived regulations. California cannot build a high-speed rail. London cannot build a tunnel. It's time and time again, the regulators, particularly the environmental regulators, are using regulation to stymie development in ways that would help advance our society. And what we're finding more and more is that those environmentalists and others who are using regulations to stop development tend to be paid for by foreign governments, subsidized by foreign governments that do not like us, that do not want us to succeed, that do not want us to develop. And the thing that we have to resist on the right is to fall into that mode. And oftentimes these days, people on the right want to wield regulation against the left. And what we're finding more and more is that there are people who are bought and paid for on both sides trying to weaponize against each other. Take the snap fight. Have y'all heard about this? There are groups that you can pay now. And these groups employ people on social media, or they contract or have relationships with people on social media. You write them a large check, and they divvy the proceeds between the people that tweet. And the people that tweet will take on whatever message you want. It is abundantly obvious in the last week that the soft drink makers of America have paid conservative influencers to object to the idea that soft drinks will not be part of SNAP purchases. I got to tell you, I own stock in Coca-Cola. I like Coke. Dr. Pepper is my preference. Not a big Pepsi guy. I don't mind soft drinks, but it is kind of absurd to me that we are putting soft drinks in nutrition plans for people. And the Trump administration is thinking of cutting the funding and welfare and food stamps for soft drinks, that you can buy a soft drink but not with government funds. And the soft drink makers are out lobbying furiously to prevent this, and they've paid some social media people on the right to come out against it. And all their tweets were eerily similar. Bought and paid for people. It's happening on the left, and it's happening on the right. And the danger is that so much of it is happening now in regulation that we as a country can't build power plants, let alone nuclear power plants. We can't build roads. We can't build bridges because a bunch of activists paid for by foreign entities, unbeknownst typically to the activists, are trying to shut us down so that China can eat our lunch. We as a nation have got to take this on head first and actually stand up to the regulators and say, we're doing this for national security.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
221 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Long-standing travel advisory continues with this crash. 985 northbound approaching Buford Drive, exit 4, still in the right lane. You're slow from I-85, Buford Drive, passing the Mall of Georgia, jammed up as an alternate. Think about Satellite Boulevard instead. Elsewhere, better news heading into Midtown. The crash, 85 southbound before 17th Street, exit 84. That has since cleared. Traffic brought to you by Callaway Resort and Gardens. Celebrate spring at Callaway Resort and Gardens in Pine Mountain, Georgia. Relax at their Four Diamond Lodge and Spa, or a charming cottage experience, vibrant blooms, and immersive art. Plan your spring getaway at CallawayGardens.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Get the WSB Radio app.
This story is breaking right now.
Get notifications from your source for news.
If you have the WSB Radio app, then you saw the breaking news.
Get the WSB Radio app.
Don't miss a thing with the WSB app.
Download it from the App Store today.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in will work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Do you think you need to renovate your kitchen, but you're worried about the costs? Well, Frugal Kitchens can help you get $1 million looking kitchen for a fraction of the cost and 18 months, no interest financing available. The best part, they can get you back up and cooking in 5 days from the start of construction. Life happens in your kitchen. That's where you build so many memories. If you're like Christy and me, that's why we use Frugal Kitchens, and you can too. FrugalKitchens.com is the website. Go check them out. Don't forget, 18 months, no interest financing available. FrugalKitchens.com.
Scott Slade here to talk to you about your health, and I think it's real important to talk about what is most likely to kill you. Heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, and the older we get, the more prevalent it is. But you can reduce your risk. Eat right, don't smoke, exercise, and be informed about what's going on in your own body. Like lots of potentially serious health problems, if you catch heart disease early, you vastly increase your chances of living a longer life. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease. Other scans, including brain and full body, are available too. Virtual imaging is locally owned and operated in Atlanta for over 15 years, so they can make you this terrific offer. A complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse with a few minimum requirements. So don't put this off. I've done it. Call Virtual Imaging today for your free heart scan. 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-7226. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Hey everyone, it's your buddy Shelly Winter here. Join me this Saturday at noon for The Car Guys with Kevin Deutsch from Butler Lexus of South Atlanta. Buy or lease, fix or sell, everything you want to know about cars, we will cover Saturday, noon to 1, right here on 95.5 WSB.
Our weather is so unpredictable, and your roof takes all the abuse. If it needs repair or replacement, think of Findlay First, the roof guys, the perfect match for any roofing issues. Schedule your free roof analysis at findlayroofing.com.
Roof. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
.net.
Join Eric's Army of Activists. Text ARMY to 33777 now.
Greetings, welcome. You can be a part of the program, 877-973-7425. If you wish to be on the program, Israel has taken out Hamas's new leader. And you're thinking, much as the people of Gaza are, we didn't know Hamas had a new leader. Well, yes, because Israel took out Hamas's old leader last week. And you were thinking, wait, no, they had a new leader last week? Yes, and Israel had taken out their previous leader the day before. So we've got 3 new Hamas leaders dead in the last week. People can't keep up. What's so remarkable are the number of journalists being killed by Israeli soldiers in Gaza. So many journalists, all of whom are Hamas operatives. It's kind of wild, their international press outrage about Israel killing these journalists, and these journalists are literally Hamas terrorists who just claim to be journalists, thinking that that would somehow protect them from Israel. Israel is wiping out Hamas, and they should. And the difference between now and just a few months ago is that Joe Biden is no longer in the White House, and Donald Trump has told Israel to just wipe out Hamas, and they should. I hate to see the innocent people of Gaza have their homes leveled. But at this point, I'm kind of embracing Donald Trump's plan of just flatten Gaza and rebuild it in his image. Because Israel, to get a few hostages out, had to release hundreds of Hamas terrorists from its jail cells. Hamas never turned over the rest of its prisoners. And now Israel is having to fight a replenished Hamas. It needs to be wiped out. It needs to be wiped out. Israel is doing what needs to be done. And thankfully, Hamas leaders keep getting killed. Now, let me tell you about Old Glory Bank. It's my bank. It is run by conservatives. It is out of Oklahoma. A lot of conservative leaders, like Ben Carson, Larry Elder, John Rich, and others, the former governor Fallon of Oklahoma, they were concerned about these debanking trends they were hearing. My buddy Mike Ring is in charge of Old Glory Bank. I am an investor in Old Glory Bank now as well, but I've had a bank account with them for 2 years. You can get one at oldglorybank.com. Oldglorybank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender, terms and conditions apply. Let me tell you, though, if you're interested in looking into ownership like I did, you can go to own.oldglorybank.com, and you can see their prospectus. They've decided to bypass Wall Street for Main Street, going right to qualified investors in Middle America. If that's an investment opportunity you are interested in, check it out at own.oldglorybank.com. Now, stock prices go up and down. They're not FDIC insured. You can lose money. You need to check it out. Talk to an advisor if you have any questions. But you can check that out, and you can get a bank account at oldglorybank.com. You can get a no-fee checking, no-fee savings account. If you're a business, you're worried about debanking trends because you're conservative-oriented, well, you don't have to worry about that with Old Glory Bank. And again, it's oldglorybank.com. Fill out the form online. Checking, savings, mortgages, loans, you name it. oldglorybank.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio. Our top local story, the Georgia Senate today giving final approval of a bill banning cell phones in public schools in grades K through 8. The vote 54-2. Senator Jason Anavatarte explains why he supports it.
Over 85% of high school teachers and 68% of middle school teachers report that cell phones are a major problem in their classrooms.
The measure now goes to Governor Kemp's desk. It would prohibit public school students from accessing personal electronic devices during the school day. Gwinnett County Police arrest a suspect in a 2022 murder case with help from police in New York. 20-year-old Delano Hill is charged in the September 2022 stabbing death of a man in the front yard of a Sewanee home on Ridge Oak Drive. Gwinnett announced it's nominating Susan Manarez to be the CDC director. After hearing complaints about mail delays for years, Georgia Senator Jon Ossoff is pleased at the resignation of Postmaster General Louis DeJoy.
There's been some improvement, in particular since I started putting serious pressure on him, but I think it's clear we need new leadership at the USPS.
Ossoff tells WSP he's written to the Board of Governors at USPS to encourage them to find someone highly competent for the job. It is now 2:32, and this news is sponsored by FGA Roofing.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-239-1749. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-239-1749. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-239-1749. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-239-1749, 800-239-1749, or biglou.com.
When it rains, you need to make sure your home is protected from the ground up. That means starting in your crawl space. Water in your crawl space can lead to problems in your house. Crawl space issues? Visit aquaguard.net today and book a free inspection. Remember,
AquaGuard. Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
If you've been thinking about selling your home, now is the time. With a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, you can sell your home fast and for more than you expect. Choose when you want to move with the Mark Spain Real Estate Guaranteed Offer. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Long-standing crash cleanup continues in Gwinnett County. Heading into Buford, should be wrapping up. 985 northbound before Buford Drive, exit 4. It's been in the right lane. That's why you're slow leaving I-85. Elsewhere, traffic troopers just told me about a stall in the left lane into Cab. 285 northbound, the outer loop before Glenwood Road, exit 44. And already getting slower into downtown and midtown for the afternoon. 75, 85 north and southbound on and off the brakes between 17th Street and I-20. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Sunshine, 74 degrees in Midtown Atlanta. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, because the truth is what matters. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Well, some listener has just thoroughly pissed off my assistant. That just, wow, did I just get a barn burner of a text message from my assistant? Y'all, my goodness gracious. Apologies for coming back on this note, but wow. I've got the most mild-mannered assistant, unless I'm trying to get her to fire Philip and Charlie. And somebody left her a voicemail because I mentioned my favorite restaurant, and somebody felt the need to call and leave a message for my assistant to relay to me that if I knew the politics of the owner of that restaurant, I would not eat there. And apparently my assistant interpreted it as this person questioning me. They have these meatballs with this habanero sauce on top. I don't know what the politics of the meatball is, but I assure you when I eat it, it is delicious. And when I eat their shrimp and grits, I don't know the politics of the shrimp and grits. I never cared to ask the shrimp its name, let alone who it voted for in the election before it was killed and I ate it. But it's quite delicious. I don't care about the politics of these restaurants. I don't care about the politics of the owners. I happen to know the people who work there. They're wonderful human beings. I never talk politics with them. It's why I like going there. And I refuse to be like the left. Like these people, have you seen the videos of the people who are spray painting Teslas or key Teslas? You know, Teslas have video cameras. And all these people who are slashing tires and keying and spray painting swastikas on Teslas, they're getting videoed, and the videos are going viral, and people are losing their jobs, including there's a head of a security firm in New Hampshire or somewhere up there that is losing his job because he was caught on video keying a Tesla because he's so broken by politics. He saw some woman park her Tesla and decided he had to go key it. I refuse to be like those people. I'm not going to be, my politics break me. I don't care what the politics are at some of these places that I eat. I don't care that I may be eating at the restaurant of a flaming liberal. And in this case, I actually know the people and they're not. I don't care. I care, is the food good? When the Bible says love your neighbor, it does not say love your neighbor who agrees with you. It says love your neighbor. And my job is to love my neighbor. And if I have a transgender neighbor who has a Satanist statue in the front yard and voted for Kamala Harris and has a Harris wall sign in the yard, well, you know what? I'm going to be as neighborly to them as my other neighbor who is a full-on Donald Trump supporter. Now, I may laugh on my front porch when those two get in a fight in the street, but I'm going to be as nice to one as the other. It's what I'm told I got to do. Life is too short to care about the politics. You know, I've mentioned this before. There actually is an app that if you are a diehard progressive, you can get this app on your phone. And when you go to the grocery store, you can scan the UPC label of your groceries to see if the company producing that grocery is a liberal or a conservative. So if it's a conservative, you don't have to buy it. I'm not doing that. Conservatives have come up with this same sort of thing. I know a company that invested in doing it, and they flopped. Why? Because conservatives do not care who produced the food. They want to know if the food is good. If you can't eat at a restaurant because you think the people who own it don't share your politics, that is your loss if the food is good. I'm just not going down that road. I'm sorry. And boy, whoever called in aggravated to no end my assistant for dragging politics into good food. And by the way, Table in Maine, fantastic food. And I know the owners, and they're not like rabid progressives. It doesn't matter. I wouldn't care if they are. There's another restaurant in town I won't name where not only do I know they're progressives, but there's actually a bartender at the restaurant who refuses to even wait on me because I'm me. And I don't care. Maybe they are spitting in the food, but you can watch them make it behind the counter, and I've never seen them spit in my food. It's delicious. I went into a restaurant one time in Atlanta, and I had a conversation with a couple of people in the restaurant. The restaurant's now no longer there. It was a chain, but I went in because this restaurant had really good meatball subs, and they had taken it off the menu. And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking for the meatball sub." And the girl said, "Oh, we took it off the menu, but we can still make it if you want." It's like, "Yeah, I would love this meatball sub. I can't believe." And she explained it just took a lot of time to make the meatball sub. Having this great conversation with them. There's this young lesbian lady who I have the new Apple Watch. I've got the Apple Watch Ultra. She had the Apple Watch. She was thinking, "Oh, I think I want the Ultra." I said, "Here, I just got it." I took it off and I gave it to her. She tries on the Apple Watch Ultra. And we have a conversation about it. And how do I know she was lesbian? Well, one, kind of obvious. She's either lesbian or barista, but she's working in a sandwich shop, not a coffee shop, so she's not a barista. And then she also had the rainbow band on the watch. We have a very fantastic conversation. Everything's going fine. And then I hand my credit card to pay the bill, and they see my name. I kid you not. The one young lady who had been as nice as she can be went into the kitchen, and then from the glass window would not come out until I had left the restaurant. Would not leave the kitchen until I was gone. We had a perfectly fine conversation. I was in this restaurant for all of 40 minutes. We had a good conversation. I ate. I gave them my watch to check out. We had a great, and then suddenly I'm evil because of who I am, because of what I believe. There's a Starbucks not far from my office. I was asked to leave the Starbucks one time. Now, it was kind of funny because I walked in and realized that, I think I might be the only straight person in this place. It was all dudes. And the manager came over and asked if I would actually stand outside. I'd ordered some terrible Starbucks coffee because I don't like it, but I needed coffee, and it was the closest place. And the owner actually came up to me while I was waiting for my coffee and asked if I would mind standing outside, that some of the patrons were intimidated by me, a middle-aged fat white dude from Middle Georgia, native of Louisiana, standing there waiting for my coffee, and they were intimidated by me. I hadn't even started CrossFit at the time. They were intimidated by me simply because of my politics. I was perfectly happy to oblige to walk outside and wait. It wasn't raining. I was fine. I did not want to be the source of someone's disturbance. At the level of brokenness in people's politics these days is absurd to me, that anyone could just decide I can't be in the same location as someone else because they don't share my politics. I can't eat at a restaurant because I perceive that someone's politics. And I guess this particular woman is concerned about one of the investors at the restaurant. I know the staff. In fact, I'm throwing a birthday party for myself. First, I'm going to invite some friends. I've rented out the patio. I'm going to put in a golf simulator, and we're going to hang out and drink bourbon, smoke cigars, and hit golf balls while we eat the fantastic meatballs at the restaurant, among other things. They've got fantastic food. I can't relate to people who are like that. It is not the way I was raised. And I just think as an evangelical Christian, I'm supposed to be salt and light in the world, and that means I need to be able to interact with people who I may disagree with them on politics. I'm supposed to love my neighbor. But increasingly in our hard-charging secular society, even people who call themselves Christians have a harder and harder time loving their neighbor if their neighbor sees the world differently from them, particularly political. But that, I think, is idol worship. It's not true faith. And we got to get out of this idol worship that we have in this country, defining people by politics. And there's another angle to this too, and it's the increased obsessive racialism over everything in the country. I want to play this clip for you. It came up in social media. Listen to this lady talking about weight loss.
The same diets as white women, we lose less weight and we lose it slower, even when we're following the diet, than our white women counterparts. It's literally that the racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends meet actually means the diet don't work for you the same.
You got that? The diet is racist. There actually is data. There actually is data that black women process less energy than white women, and therefore a diet for a white woman should have calories further reduced for a black woman. This is in 2014. There was major research that African American women have a harder time losing weight than white counterparts due to the way their bodies process calories. And essentially the same diet between a white woman and a black woman will cause both women to lose weight, but the black woman will lose weight slower than the white woman because they actually need a further reduction in calories because of the way their body consumes its energy resources. But it's not racism. Diets are not racist. It's like the study, about how black children who the pediatrician in the hospital is white tend to die. There are more black premature children born in hospitals who die at the hands of white doctors than black doctors. Do you know why that actually is? It's not racism, and yet it comes up all the time. What's her name? Jasmine Crockett, I think, the congresswoman from Houston, brought this up in a hearing a few weeks ago, that if a black woman giving birth to a child has a white doctor, her child has a higher chance of dying in the hospital, and clearly that's proof of racism. Do you know what the answer actually is? I kid you not. It's a serious answer. It's that there are more white doctors who handle crisis pregnancies than black doctors. So if you're a black woman who is giving birth in a crisis pregnancy situation, you are more likely to be assigned a white doctor who handles high-risk crisis pregnancy births. And because you're a high-risk crisis pregnancy birth, your child naturally has a higher statistically higher rate of dying. And that's why that number exists. That's why it appears that in hospitals, black babies die at the hands of white doctors higher than at the hands of black doctors. It's because of the quality of the birth and the situation with the crisis pregnancy. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with the actual doctor or the care given. And yet people have internalized these things. And so now you have a class of people who feed this stuff. You don't want to go eat at the restaurant where the person doesn't share your politics. The black woman is told you can't have a white doctor. Your kid has a higher rate of dying, or racist diets are racist. We have all polluted our brains with this sort of divisive stuff. It's like, I will say, like in this headline, it says African-American women. I don't actually like to use the term African-American because I don't like the hyphenation of American society. Hispanic-American, Native American, African, we're all just Americans. But in society, we want to divide each other up by our politics. We want to divide each other up by our race. We want to just keep dividing ourselves, and that's just not healthy for us as a society to keep doing. We're supposed to love our neighbor, not our neighbors who look like us and think like us. This is part of the problem with social media, is we create neighbors for ourselves on social media who tend to look like us, think like us, sound like us, and have no diversity of opinion. In the real world, you are more likely to encounter someone who disagrees with you than the online bubble you've created. And we get more divided and more divisive as we go more online and offline, and we only encounter people who agree with us and think like us and vote for the same people we do. Meanwhile, in the real world, people are multifaceted and complex and hold ideas in their head that conflict with each other. It's the sign of healthy human relationships that we can have relationships with people who disagree with us, and the sign of a healthy human mind that we can hold two competing thoughts together in our head and believe them both. And it's just harder and harder to do as people spend more and more time engaged in politics and online. It is idol worship that we ourselves need to deal with. And, with Easter around the corner, it's the perfect time to to think about getting rid of these idols in our lives, the political idols that keep us divided from each other. Go out and find someone you disagree with vehemently on politics and break bread with them and try to find some common ground. And sometimes it's not possible. I do admit that. But oftentimes people don't even want to try to make it possible. They don't even want to try. But I personally think we're better off. My friend Tim Keller, God rest his soul, the theologian, one time said that every single person on planet Earth is made in the image of God. Whether they believe they are or not, every person is. Because every person is, they in some way reflect God back to the rest of us, which is why we should take time to get to know people even we disagree with, because in some way God is reflected through them since we're all created in his image. And if we divide each other up based on politics or race or perceptions of racism or political divides, we lose some aspect of God because we refuse to build a relationship with someone who reflects him. And I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. Now, there's also a lot of wisdom in you going to Americans for Prosperity today to get involved in changing politics in Washington. I kind of edited the show a little bit because I needed to talk about the budget and taxes, but I got to be honest with you, it's just so boring. I mean, there's plenty of other stuff out there, and Republicans in D.C. are fighting with each other right now. The House is fighting with the Senate. The House Republicans are fighting the House Republicans over what to do. Americans for Prosperity is trying to keep everyone on the same page with the state of play in D.C. and the path of getting the tax cuts extended. And they would love to have you involved. If you go to protectprosperity.com, you can sign up today. You can get active and engaged in the process forward, how to fight for tax cuts, how to get your member of Congress on board, what the competing plans are, how they'll impact you, how they'll impact your neighbor, so you can get your neighbor on board. Americans for Prosperity is the largest leading grassroots group in the country. They happen to be conservatives. They happen to be on our side. They're fighting for common sense conservative reforms, including extending President Trump's tax cuts. They'd love to get you involved in the cause. All you got to do is go to protectprosperity.com. That's protectprosperity.com.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
251 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center, dealing with stall in a left lane, 285 northbound, the outer loop into DeKalb County, between I-20 and Glenwood Road, slowing you back toward Flat Shoals. Trouble cleared out of a travel lane in Kennesaw, 75 southbound, just past Chastain Road, exit 277, sluggish as you come out of Ackworth. And if you're traveling toward downtown, hitting the brakes already on and off, 85 southbound from the 400 merge as you make your way onto the connector southbound down toward I-20. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
In Atlanta, there is always something happening.
Tanker truck crashed into the median.
The Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
No traffic getting through in either direction.
Helping you on your commute.
Avoid the area at all costs. Take Highway 155 or Highway 4223.
Brought to you by the Cool Ray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
We are here with CFP Matthew Decker of the Vincent Financial Group and host of Retire ATL. And Matt, you've said that income is the outcome that matters the most in retirement. But what income streams require the most attention?
Yeah, so if you've got a pension or if you're living off of Social Security, you kind of know those income streams show up in your mailbox. That's mailbox money. It's almost like you're still working, and it doesn't really require that much attention. But most people that come into the office today, they are having to use their 401ks, their IRAs, SEP Simples, 403Bs that are invested in the market to generate income. And anytime you're going to use a market-linked asset where you have to go in and decide when you're going to buy and sell to generate your income, it takes a ton more effort, energy, and attention to get that piece of the puzzle right. But it doesn't actually have to be that way.
So, Matt, the number one fear of adults in retirement is outliving their money. How do we get started building income today?
Well, you can get started today. You'd call us for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement roadmap. We want to build a GPS for you that's going to help navigate retirement, and it's going to have a focus on building and preserving income. 770-280-1488. We've got a representative standing by to talk to you right now, 770-280-1488. Our home office is in downtown Woodstock, but we are available across the metro Atlanta area to meet with you at a time and place that fits your schedule. Again, 770-280-1488 or online at retireatlradio.com.
The team at Vincent Financial Group want to help preserve your assets while building retirement income that lasts as long as you do. Call today for your complimentary retirement roadmap, 770-280-1488. 1488. And you can always get more at retireatlradio.com and join us for Retire ATL Sundays at 6 p.m. right here on WSB.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Get Eric's daily show prep email. Text DATA to 33777 and you'll be in the know.
Guys, I learned something extremely important during the commercial break. I just let me see if I can play this little ditty for us. Oh yeah. You know what this song is. You absolutely know. This is Creed. Higher. Oh yeah. Yeah, way better than what the kids are listening to these days. Creed, Scott Stapp. You know who Scott Stapp is? Yes, you know. He's the leader of Creed. You know who else he is? Brother-in-law to National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. I had no idea. Turns out, yes, his wife and Mike Waltz's wives are sisters. I had no idea. It is a small world. Can you take me higher? Apparently, you can even take me into a group chat I'm not supposed to belong to, Mike Waltz. Congratulations to you, sir. You know, I got to say, I'm a big Mike Waltz fan. He's a great member of Congress, although the Republican who's running for a seat, this is a seat that Waltz and Trump both won with over 60% of the vote. And the Democrats are thinking they can pick it up because the GOP is taking things for granted down there. You people in Florida need to step it up in this special election because the Democrats are outspending the Republican like 2-1 trying to drive out the vote. And you get these angry progressives, they could take over an easy-to-win Republican seat. It's just easy for the GOP to win. You got to do something. You've got to engage. Mike Waltz, though, I don't think he needs to be ousted. Everybody in Washington does signal chats these days, Democrat or Republican both. It was a dumb mistake, but you know and I know Mike Waltz is never going to do it again. He is a good man. He is thoroughly qualified for the job of National Security Advisor. It is absolutely true that if a junior officer in the military set up a signal chat to deal with classified information, that person would probably go to jail. That is not the case for these political appointees. Mike Waltz screwed up adding Jeffrey Goldberg to the chat. But no, I don't think Mike Waltz should be fired. He would probably be replaced by someone who's not as good as him. He actually is a distinguished former member of Congress. He actually is a very good guy. He is very competent at his job, despite this one mistake. Everyone has mistakes, and Mike Waltz is never going to make this mistake again. He's never going to do it again. His lesson will be learned. And he's a good guy whose instincts are right. And frankly, he's put in the middle of a bunch of competing people, and he's got to bring consensus, and he's very good at that. So I'm a Mike Waltz fan. I'm glad the president is not kicking him down the road. It was a mistake he will learn from and never do it again.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
if you're in college, or let's say you have a kid who's in college or going soon, I want to tell you the hottest thing right now is to go in a college program where you work, not just wherever, but you work in jobs that are in the field of what you're studying. And it lets you stand above the crowd. This is the number one way for someone to take a college degree and be successful with it after graduating from college. College is so expensive, it's better actually to stretch college to get that degree to 5 or 6 years working while in school, so that when you graduate, you not only have the credential, but you also have experience in the field you want to work in. I'm Clark Howard.
News, weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
At 3 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. Check your phone at the door. Georgia lawmakers today give final passage to a bill banning cell phones at Georgia public schools.
Under the bill, K through 8th grade students would not be allowed to use personal electronic devices during the school day. Senator Jason Anavatarte says cell phone use in school is a problem.
Pulling attention away from learning and turning our teachers into cell phone police officers.
Marietta City Schools implemented a ban in their middle schools, and Superintendent Grant Rivera says they've seen results.
We've heard staff say they feel they're better able to do their job, and for us, that's compelling.
The measure now awaits Governor Kemp's signature. From the state capitol, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
76 degrees in Atlanta, a string of sunny days ahead with highs in the 70s. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. New this hour, a Gwinnett County cold case murder is solved. WSB Steve Summers reports live with how the alleged killer gave himself up.
Yeah, Bill, when 44-year-old Matthew Jones was found stabbed to death in front of his parents' Ridge Oak Drive home in Sewanee back in September of 22, they